Good evening, and welcome to the 17 December version of the Kennebunkport Planning Board. We're at the fire station. We have a quorum here tonight. Excuse me, let me turn the silence my phone. Sorry about that. And we'll start with attendance. Again, there are 4 of us, Rick, Peter, Mike, George, and myself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us. Thank you. In attendance. Can we just, we're going to change the order up just a little bit here, but first I'd like to just, did you have a chance to look at the minutes that came out for the previous 2 meetings?
Yes.
Any issues?
I had some small edits, but I'd be happy to just forward them on.
I think that's a good idea. I had a few typos that I did send on myself, so other than that, have a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah. Approve the minutes. And we're going to get started with the applications, but first, Galen, you had an issue you wanted to raise. Did you want to do it at first? Do you want to do it at the end?
For the.
Oh, since you are staying for the meeting.
Yeah, I'm staying, yeah.
Okay, we'll
Yeah,
do
we're
it at the end then,
Yeah.
all right. So we'll get started with the first application, 251004 for Salty Acres.
No, isn't it
No.
Batson Creek?
Am I reading the wrong?
Yes, the agenda has been updated. They were not ready to
Oh.
come before the board.
Beg your pardon.
Yep. So it should be Batson Creek.
All right, thank you. Sorry, I took the wrong one. Item number 251201, Batson Creek. Initial review.
Evening.
Evening.
I've never done this before, so going first, you've thrown me to the wolves.
Oh, you're in big trouble. We like to fresh meat.
So thank you all.
Introduce yourself, please.
Sure. My name is Brian Pritchard, and I live on 20 Batson Creek Road in Kennebunkport. Keep going?
Yes, please.
You probably have more in front of you than you need, and it's likely in a colored folder. So I've tried to provide as much detail as I possibly can. Our family is under contract on a lot, also on Batson Creek Road. And my introductory letter explains the situation, but ultimately, Batson Creek Road, as many roads in Kennebunkport, is a dirt road formed of right-of-ways. And the lot we're under contract for is an existing lot of record. And so our intention is to ask for a waiver to not have to expand the road to town requirements right now because we don't have legal authority to do so. So I can explain, and I've provided a lot of data, but ultimately there's a small road called Beacon Avenue that has a development, and each of those lots are long, skinny, basically 3-acre lots. And from 1978, I believe, there was a 20-foot right-of-way going into the woods that is Batson Creek Road. The lot that we're looking to purchase is the first lot at the end of that right-of-way, through which the existing neighbors, including ourselves, pass. After this property, the right-of-ways revert to additional neighbors having granted authority to, ourselves and the other existing people on the road. So without, we're under contract from a marketing firm, not that this matters, but as a little background, marketing firm is based in Portland. They had contracted with the Davis family, who owns the lot now, also Kennebunkport residents, to have this firm sell a building package using a New Hampshire builder who was looking to build, a large kind of stick-built property. They don't have any connection with Batson Creek Road or our neighborhood, and likely would have been standing before you instead of me had we not negotiated a contract from them. So, what we're looking to do is really just a small 1,200-foot home with somewhere around a 600-foot ADU, single story, set it nicely kind of in the character of the neighborhood, and really, using a local building firm, keep this all kind of in the Kennebunkport community from a building perspective and contracting perspective. The issues that I identified are that obviously we don't own the property. That's to expand the road. That's the biggest issue that we face in trying to come up to town, codes. The second that I thought you all would find important is that it's only a 12-foot wide road, and emergency vehicle access, I assumed, would be an issue. And so I've come up with a creative solution, I believe, to try to help address that. And since I haven't done this before, I don't know if I should be yammering on, or if there's questions. Keep going. All right,
Let me-
here we go.
Rather than do it, can I just ask a question here? One of the things that happens in advance of this, now you've talked to, your application's been looked at by the town, they've talked to the various departments, and I have the notes in front of me. I hope they've been shared with you. And basically it says the fire chief thinks you need to bring the road up to standard. And the public works director says, we recommend you bringing the road up to standard.
Mm-hmm.
Fire chief says, your workaround's great, but there's a bridge that prevents the fire truck from continuing down the entire road. This would not impact the lot in question, but would prevent the truck from using the turnaround,
So,
the applicant. So they're both basically asking us to not grant this waiver.
okay.
Have you talked to them?
No, I just got that today.
Yeah, no, me too. But
Okay, and the bridge that's referenced there actually is not on the road. That's a bridge going over my existing home, and I've offered that as what would be a hammerhead turnaround in the code. It does fit the size. I'm not sure if the fire chief actually looked at our bridge.
Right,
It's not a small homemade bridge. It's actually one of those huge tubes with a lot of dirt over it, and we've had extremely heavy equipment along with semis over that bridge. I don't perceive it's a problem, but I'm not a fire chief. The other issue is this home is the first one as you enter the road. It's the first lot. It's not changing the structure of this road at all. It's not going out further, and I've offered an additional turnoff. The road's only 0.3 miles long. It takes 30 seconds to drive down it. I've offered an additional turnoff because the concern seemed to be that vehicles can't pass each other. And so about halfway down the road where we'd be putting our driveway, they would have an additional area to pull an emergency vehicle that's 85
Yep.
feet long, where vehicles could pass if they needed to. The other part that addresses that is that there's a Y, and I have pictures of this in a booklet. If you took a left onto my driveway where I've proposed the hammerhead turn, all of the other homes on the property, or on the road, are past me. A truck could pull off there and then back out and continue on.
so I'm beginning to understand why you didn't just back away, while you're coming forward, but speaking for myself as a board member and not for the board, we're not in the habit, we have never done something to contradict what our public works director or fire chief has asked us to do. That's not the way this works. So I think your case needs to be made to them. And if they say, well, he's right, then we're going to be receptive, I think. But without that, I'd be hard pressed to say, yes, we'll grant you that waiver. Anyone else on the board have a thought on this?
If I can ask for some help on this question, it's a lot of record, and I don't know how this has been handled in the past.
Yeah.
Because obviously, and I've provided Cole Benson as an example, the road right next to us. There's been development in 2020 and 2021. It's a 13-foot wide dirt road. One
Right.
of the homes was built after the turnaround, and there's 4 homes past
So there's precedent for
the
this,
turnaround.
you're saying?
Okay,
Yeah.
so obviously there's a way to go about this.
Right,
And we're a virtually similar road. Being a lot of record, because I don't own, and whomever buys this will not own all the right-of-ways, it can't be made to standard, which I assume is the same situation with Cole Benson. I could be wrong. So it's
I
either
don't know.
that the property is not buildable, or from my understanding, there will be a waiver granted so that it is buildable. And that's the thing to consider, because it's obviously in a family's interest in Kennebunkport, who owns the property now.
right.
Can I ask some question? Just a question. Walk me through, so I'm looking at the map,
Yes.
and so you have Beacon Ave,
Yes.
right? And then Batson Creek Road comes off of Beacon to
Yes.
get to your lot,
Exactly.
correct?
Yep.
So it's that .3 that we're talking about. And-
It's about a little over .15 to get to the first lot. Which
Okay.
is a lot, yes.
And so I understand that you're saying, hey, I don't own that. So if it were up to you, you'd go and you'd make it up to code and work with everybody, but you can't do that because you don't own that. Who owns that? And what's their thought on this issue?
So, if included in the package, I have pictures, diagrams,
Yep,
all
yep.
kinds of good stuff. That is, when the development was scribed out, that right-of-way was put into the development, and there's 2 properties that border it all the way up. And so that is it's a right-of-way that was put in when the development was made, so that the people who own the property behind the development could access their land. So it's actually, it's owned by, we have a right-of-way, we will have a right-of-way if we purchase the property. But it's not the people's land who are on either side of it either. We would
Okay.
have to take their property.
And they don't have any vested interest in your lot and behind them.
No, and
Okay.
if you look at the pictures, their homes are very close to that. It's, you can't. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
you'd
okay.
be knocking down houses.
Are any of the lots beyond that, beyond yours, developed?
Yes, basically all of them, with the exception of a lot to the right. So, when you go up Batson Creek Road, on the left, before it hooks to the right, there's a home. Then I'm the second, and then there's 3 more past me. So this is the first property.
You're 2816. So 15A, 114, 7A, and 7B, which of those are developed? So 3 of those are developed, is what you're saying.
Yeah, thank you. So, 114, 15, 15A, 17A, and 17B. Yes,
All of-
that's the existing, those are all the existing homes.
You're 1-5?
I-
16.
I am 15, yes, yep.
Was this part of a subdivision at some point in time, back in the 70s or anything?
No,
Okay, so this road never went to, right-of-way never went through a subdivision, it's just been a long-standing right-of-way, someone cut up the land years ago,
you got it,
and they've all been accessing it over this 12-foot dirt road,
yes.
which, I mean, doesn't, the standard for a subdivision would be if it's over 1,000 feet long, then we've got to do this, that, or the other thing. It's over 1,000 feet long. It's,
So if I can offer some clarification for the board.
Thank you.
Batson Creek Road was originally a subdivision. You'll see the narrow parcels that are closer to the end of where Beacon Avenue is.
Right.
That was part of original subdivision. And then what you're seeing there is the right-of-way. That was a fire access route for fire, if the case there was ever a wildfire or something that would take place. That was an emergency access that they used. I can't speak for what happened with the other houses that were constructed at that time. You'll notice that it does look like code officer did require some sort of 50-foot right-of-way for the new residences that are back there. But he didn't send it back to the planning board for your blessing and approval, and which is specifically required under section 240 of your ordinances. And so when you read the comments about the fire chief and the public works director, I think it's very fresh in our mind about what we just experienced off Mills Road with a fire that was in a substandard access. And so I think that's where this comment is coming from, the fire chief who is concerned and had issues getting
Yeah.
to that fire back in the residences. So as residences of the town, I would be concerned with a substandard road to have emergency services vehicles traverse to hopefully fight a fire if there were, heaven forbid, there was one to occur on the site.
But that's a pre-existing, that's today's situation.
Yes, yes. So I think
They're not gonna make the road any smaller.
no.
And-
So I think what the department is asking is not to bring it up to standard of the 50-foot right-of-way width, because we understand that there is an issue there with the previously approved subdivision, that there's not enough land there to work. I believe what the fire chief and the public works director would like to see is a 20-foot wide travel width that would at least give the emergency vehicles the clearance they need if they were to go back into the site.
So are we talking about the section of the road that is within lot 2816, which is the lot that we're talking,
So we are referring to 2816, and then that little right-of-way that is Batson Creek Road, because that's a 20-foot right-of-way, but the travel width is only 12 feet.
That's coming up into lot 16,
Yes.
yeah.
But I think 1.6, you're saying, yeah, we can comply, we can make that, but not the Batson Creek piece coming into your lot.
I haven't heard you say that. Is that,
Oh, are you
I-
saying that?
I'm not really. If you look at pictures of the Batson Creek
Yep.
entrance, right now, we'd have to take down everybody's mature barrier trees.
no, we're talking about,
No, your piece.
there's a section of the road that's dotted line on this
Yes.
sheet that you've given us, that is only a 12-foot right-of-way.
Right.
You were saying you would make that a 20-foot right-of-way if that was helpful.
I am not proposing that. There's a area that would be very suitable for a pull-off for a fire truck that doesn't exist now. And I've taken pictures of it and measured it, and it's right where that bend is. So it's easy to pull into, and it's about halfway down the road. And we would, owning this lot, take that upon ourselves to make a road and a pull-off and plow it. Now, that doesn't exist right now, and so we'd actually be increasing the capabilities for emergency equipment to go in and out of the road. And because we're at the beginning of this road, anything we do doesn't impact the homes past us anyway. There's no change to their situation, including my own.
Well, I think that's part of the point, right, is if there's an ability the fire chief or the Department of Public Works has to bring a section of this road up to code, that would give them a safer and an easier way to get at these back lots. 15A.
It's bordered by the Batson River and by Granite Ledge. It would require blasting and probably expansion, right up against the river.
I don't see the river here. Where am I looking? Where's the river?
Well,
No, I'm saying
I mean,
this road here, this is the fire access to get to these back lots. Am I reading that wrong? And
No, you're correct.
So, I'm the fire chief here, put my fire hat on. If I can make the road in 2816 wider, I've just improved the situation on getting to these
Which
lots
is
that are
a
up there.
determination for them. They got a hammerhead here, don't know how to turn around here. And this land is undeveloped, I don't know who has access to, who has a right of way
And it would
to
set
there,
the stage for that as well. But
potentially.
if I don't do that, then I've blocked off future consideration, because this road is on this land that he's
Yes.
gonna develop.
Yes.
I think the point is that it's really down to the fire chief
Right.
and public
Well,
works.
that's where I started.
Yeah.
I-
I mean, we're not in a
I mean, we
position
can-
to give you a
we
waiver
can
until we
come
get
up with
their
ideas.
approval.
We're trying to flesh out the argument, but
Yeah, but
I'll say
it's
again-
having a conversation with the fire chief and getting them comfortable and public works comfortable.
with this
with your
proposal,
Because we can't,
we're not going to give a waiver against their wishes.
So it sounds like you've thought it through and you
We've-
have
we've
some
found, by the way-
alternatives. I would meet with them and give them your alternatives.
Both of these departments and the guys that lead them are thoughtful, helpful, easy to work with people who have a wealth of experience. So don't feel like you're gonna go fight a bureaucracy here. This is worthwhile. You've got all of the ammunition, but that's where the initial sortie has to be made.
There are a couple of pieces I think that you would need to have that as clear, right-of-way access to all of these different properties, because they may just be grandfathered into it. If it's not into their deed that they have right-of-way onto their property from these various road systems, then someone might have to establish that I've been using it for the past 40 years, therefore I have right-of-way to it. And then gonna have questions about property 28.13, that large parcel of, toward Biddeford. And do they have access? Is it landlocked? Does someone want to have future development back there because it's a big piece of land? And how will they gain access, and do they have right-of-way? So I think the clear legal right-of-ways on who's got access where will be helpful.
So our thought here would be to offer to continue the initial review until you have time to go off and speak with the two departments. And I don't know if he needs any help with that, Galen, but I know in the past, the code enforcement office has been helpful in terms of making connections like that and supporting you. Is that something you could offer?
Yeah, we can schedule a time for him to meet with the fire chief and the public works director to go over next steps.
Okay, great, thanks, Galen.
Sorry we couldn't make it go away, but
I'll be back.
I hope you are. I hope you are. It sounds
If the
good.
right-of-way says 12 feet, but you need 20 feet, then someone has to look at how do you modify that right-of-way? And who's got the authority over that right-of-way who makes that decision?
Right, and is it really 20 feet that's needed? Maybe it's,
Maybe
needs to
just
be more than
exactly
12,
12.
but it needs to be 16, or maybe it's just, that's right, the accommodation that you're able to propose with the turnaround and pullover. I don't know, but that needs to be, you can't go through us to sell that.
Right,
Okay.
okay?
thank you.
Good luck to you.
Good
Yeah,
luck.
happy holidays.
You
You
too.
as well.
Yes, and you.
A last thought on that. Sometimes right-of-ways on deeds say one thing, but in reality, it's something very, very different. I've got a 20-foot right-of-way on my driveway. My driveway's only 10 feet wide. It's only, I mean, the property's only 10 feet wide, but someone's claiming a 20-foot right-of-way on it. So just having that cleared out makes it easier for everybody.
You'd never make it through the planning board.
No, I will not. Why do you think I joined up?
Now, that won't help.
By the way, speaking of which, we have openings on the planning board and citizens have to jump up. Please do, you'll have to.
You'd have to excuse yourself.
Yeah.
There's only one vote.
Most times we get to say yes, but, and maybe, and hopefully we will in this case, as it plays out. All right, we're gonna continue on. The next item is 251202. Correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, that's still the next item. 10 Church Street?
Yes.
Hey there, I'm Mike Bedell, Kennebunkport Architects, representing the owners of 10 Church Street for the 30% expansion of a non-conforming structure. I think you guys have seen all the whole packet that we put together and sent along.
Yes.
Yep.
And basically what we're looking to do is, there's a large existing deck on the riverside that we're looking to take down, replace it with a smaller, less non-conforming jut out of the building, and then take the leftover square footage from that and the stoops and steps that are on the street side, and reintroduce a new covered entry on that street side. So volume expansion only, no footprint expansion, and a reduction of the footprint that's on the riverside.
Rick, anything?
I don't have any
No?
burning questions.
Peter?
Neither do I.
And it was,
Mr. West.
the less non-conforming was, I know there's 75 feet away from, what is it? The resource, so you're changing from the riverside to the front.
So we're reintroducing development on the riverside as well, but a smaller piece. So we have a significant deck that's on the riverside that we'll be removing, replacing that with a new family room, but we're also pulling that family room back away from the resource as well.
Right, so you're, for the 75 feet for the resource, you're actually making it less non-conforming.
Correct.
Thought I had that right, thank you.
Not by much,
3 feet.
yeah.
Have there been any prior modifications to this house that have had anything to do with expansion?
Not that we can find. So we went back through the codes department, through the building codes, and we can't find anything that it's been expanded upon or anything to date.
Not since the ordinance.
Right.
When was it built? You know,
I think in the 70s? When?
60s?
Okay.
I don't have
Any
any
questions?
questions.
Just a couple of, just to clarify, I didn't see a letter of authorization in the package that I had.
So I have a letter of authorization. The owner is here
You-
actually tonight.
yeah,
I
no,
sent
it's
it
fine.
along.
It was good,
Yeah.
all right.
But I'll make sure you guys
No
have it.
worries, no worries. I just wanted to make sure I understood in the various, in what ways this is a non-conforming lot and/or a non-conforming structure. I could see, for example, that it's only a 20,000-foot lot size against the 40,000-foot standard, so it's undersized.
Correct.
The side setbacks looked okay.
Mm-hmm.
The front setback looked okay. Do I get that right?
So the bulk of the house is non-conforming.
It's
So
all inside the 75-foot
It's all
setback.
inside the 75.
But you're
and
20
it's-
foot from the street,
Yes, yes.
so you meet that. So it's
Correct.
that rear
It's
setback.
just that rear 75-foot setback.
The lot's entirely in the shoreland zone. It's
Yes.
all in that 250-foot buffer.
Correct.
Okay. And you're gonna, if I understand it, remove a concrete slab?
So there's a concrete slab that's under the deck now.
Yeah,
We're gonna take that up. We're gonna rebuild a new family room. Underneath the new family room, we're gonna put a new bluestone patio, because on the bottom side, it's finished off, it's finished basement,
yeah.
but it'll be smaller, obviously, than what exists today.
The width of the lot, do you have the frontage on the street?
I believe so,
Do you
yes.
have the 100-foot? Do you have the 150-foot of riverfront?
That,
Just,
I believe so, yes.
it looked close here.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I
But
brought
you're
this-
not that you're changing it.
Right,
I'm
I
just
can't
trying
change
to,
it now.
I'd just like to understand how non-conforming is it, you know, that type of thing.
Yeah, it looks like 224 feet.
Thank you, Caitlin. Okay. So really, it is all about the 75-foot setback from the high water mark, or from the edge of the high point of the marsh
Correct.
area. Okay. How high is it now? What's the height, and what is it proposed to be? I couldn't
So-
pick that off of the
So the
plans.
height right now, to the highest point on the river side of the property is 24 feet.
Okay,
And we're only gonna be going up to just under 28 feet. And that's on the highest point, not taking the averages.
understood, yeah. Now, sometimes you'll hear, you know, a big concern of an abutter, I don't know if they're here tonight, of they're gonna change sight lines and this type of thing. So you're not making a,
4 feet.
go to 35, all right. What do you have in mind for landscaping in the back?
So right now, it's just loamed and seeded. And I'm assuming that that's what we're gonna replace, just to kind of blend that back, that small piece of back lot in together.
Do you ever get flooding up in there?
I
Not-
can't
I mean-
imagine. We're significantly above the river over there.
I see, okay.
Yeah,
It was on the garden tour a couple of years ago, yes?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember the process.
Yeah, it's significantly above the river.
If I add these numbers together, existing and proposed, is the percentage gonna be exactly the same?
So
In
the
terms of
percentage,
coverage?
so the percentage that is non-conforming is gonna be exactly the same. The overall percentage is gonna go up just because I'm expanding on the property that's outside of the 75-foot setback as well.
So against the 20% that you're allowed to have, what
Yeah.
is it going to be?
I will be right at 20%,
Okay.
That's in essence the garage.
exactly.
Yeah.
It'll be helpful for me, and I think
To
it'll
have
be helpful for me, is, I've got, on the front page, I've got, here's the existing building, pavement, deck, landings, patio, then proposed coverage, building, pavement, entry, pad, stairs. It's not a one-to-one relationship. Is there a way I could see or tell in a table of some sort, here's where we're subtracting and here's where we're adding?
Sure, I can put together a site plan for you guys and send it over and say,
Okay.
hey, this is
Even just a table.
just a table? Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that shows me,
Yeah,
here's the existing, and here's where we're subtracting.
Right.
And here's where we're adding.
yeah.
And what about volume?
So volume, we only used about half of the allowable volume that we're,
Put that on the table too.
yep, that's
Well,
actually on the elevations.
Well, he's got it and he's got it. I mean, I did have a question about that. I love these big prints, but they're hard in this forum. My aging eyes, it really works better though. For some reason, is it just a typo on the volume calculations table? You've written it twice. At the top, right-hand side, volume calculations, existing house, not including basement, existing house, not including basement, it looks the same.
Oh, yeah, it's a typo. It was just copied over
It's just
twice.
copied,
Yeah.
okay, and do that on both
You're
charts.
so proud of it.
I was so happy that I was under the volume, I wanted you guys to really make sure you knew.
Sorry, I neglected to see the volume calculation.
All right, and so that's there, and it's on the next chart too.
Would you be able to provide detailed breakdown of the different sections for the volume calculations?
Sure.
We usually have that from architects, that
Yeah.
just helps them see that each part of the
Yeah,
non-conforming
absolutely.
structure.
Yeah,
And the entire property, the entire building is within the same constraints, there's nothing that's sitting outside of a restricted area.
right.
Okay, that makes it easy. Okay.
Where are the retaining wall that's mentioned here? How do I see that on this plan? Where is that retaining, 69 feet of retaining wall? You see it?
It's not labeled, but it's like right in here, right toward the edge.
Oh, it's over, he says it's over here.
Oh, this wall?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
along
okay,
the back
okay.
there?
I was looking for it up at the,
Yeah, no, it's along the
not
side
picturing
right
that
there,
this
that
is
curved area.
raised up. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. So you're not making any changes there at all?
Nope.
I'm out.
I do have a question on your plan sheet, note 7, about lot information. I know you mentioned earlier that you were gonna remove the existing concrete pad, but it's still showing that as 140 square feet remaining.
On the
I don't know if
proposed.
it's under the proposed,
On the proposed site plan?
yeah,
I'll ask the surveyor to take that off,
okay.
yeah. because that'll ultimately be covered by the
By the
building.
debt, yeah.
So with that, do we want to wait for these corrections, or do you want to say this is complete, given that the letter of authorization and these corrections come in the next few days?
I'm comfortable with complete.
Yeah, I'm inclined to say complete.
And you're good with getting them in the next few days?
I'll have them this week, yeah.
Thanks, that'd be awesome.
No, I'm comfortable.
Oh, you're comfortable,
Yes,
okay.
comfortable. So with that, I would move that we say this is a complete application.
I second.
In favor? Yes?
Aye.
5-0.
Thank you, good stuff.
Thank you.
And just make, for my notes here, we talked about a table of pluses and minuses for the,
Am I going to be case manager?
No?
you said you were gonna be, you needed that table.
I need that table, all right, I'll be case manager. Speaking of Mike, what do you say?
Thank you.
No.
The next ones I have is Ocean Ave. Yes?
hearing.
Number, we've been doing the next two, 127 and 133 Ocean Ave together for the Breakwater Inn. Propose we continue that practice. Number 251001 and number 251002 for 127 Ocean Ave and 133 Ocean Ave respectively.
I am John Einsiedler, representing the Breakwater Inn. I'll give a quick synopsis of what the proposal is. At 127, we propose removing a spa that requires 14 parking places and putting in 4 additional rooms, so there'd be a net loss of 10 parking spaces required. At 133, we're proposing converting the staff housing to 5 additional rooms, the net result being 5 additional spaces required. Since that time, so that's the overall change in the property. Everything else being equal, we'd have a net reduction of parking spaces required. Identifying all the required parking spaces, I originally, in my original parking count, missed the marina, which would require 4 spaces when we're adding them up. And there also was a deed that 4 spaces were deeded to an abutting property that the attorney had since forwarded to the town, recognizing that those 4 spaces exist on paper. So those were additional parking spaces that get deducted from the count that we have for the property. I don't know if that's making much sense.
I'm sorry, how many from the marina?
4.
And four separately deeded to various individuals?
In a budding property.
Oh, okay.
Change of 8.
Down
So
8.
4 for the marina and 4 that you found were deeded to somebody else. Yep,
Somebody
good.
else.
-8.
Correct. From,
Yeah, yeah.
so in our proposal, if we're going to be adding them all up, we've ended up being required at the 127 property, they would require 37 spaces. And there are currently 59 spaces there. And at the 133 property, 39 spaces, 59 spaces are required, and there are 33 provided. So what we met with the town, we were able to find an additional space by Government Wharf parallel parking where currently, I think it was left for snow, but there is enough room to put an additional space parallel parking next to the municipal wharf. And it also propose,
That's on your property, that's?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And also propose something a little different, making a dedicated staff parking place in front of the dumpster, which could be moved, so we could pick up 2 more spaces on the 127 site. So, in the end,
Drum roll, please.
So wait, where will you put the dumpster?
the dumpster is existing, you know, with lots of,
Right, that
Okay.
corner pocket.
yeah.
You're not moving that, you're saying,
Next
I
to
can't
it.
put a
All
guest
right.
next to the dumpster,
Got
but I can make this a designated staff spot.
Correct,
And you can move the vehicle when the dumpster has to get empty.
correct.
So that means you're short 2.
And so that means we're short 2 spaces.
I'm sorry, John, is the 59 gross or net of the 8, 4 for the dock and 4 for the deed?
59. I've lost the bubble. What table are we looking at?
I'm just going on his verbal. I mean, he said there were 59
We currently have-
available
Correct,
behind 127.
correct. Yeah.
And from that, you have to deduct 8?
Well,
No.
I've added them all up for what is required parking on that site. So I wouldn't have to deduct them. I've sort of added them back in as required spaces.
So they're part of the 37 required?
Correct.
Perfect, thank you.
I brought the table up for you that was supplied by the applicant.
Right. I think this came out today. John, does this match your
Yeah.
understanding?
Yep.
Okay.
So if you want to see the spaces that are located, the 2 new spaces that John was referring to, this is the wharf one right here, where I believe it was used for potentially snow removal. In the summertime, that shouldn't be a problem where that's the prime season.
Mhm.
And then you'll see down here is where the dumpster is located. And again, the applicant, the argument for the applicant is that they usually have waste removal early in the morning before staff arrive. So then after, after the trash collection, usually staff can park there, is their argument.
And if there were subcompact cars, we could fit a
So-
bunch. But
Right,
they're
and
not,
if there's big ones, it's gonna take 2
Yeah.
spaces, so. Let me go, try for me again. You're making a proposal to change a use of these 2 facilities that you're arguing will reduce the necessary number of parking spaces by the ordinance by 5, net.
How do you get 5?
4 from the spa reduction, and then 1 by
well, 6 and
consolidating those other ones into a single.
What? Consolidating something? No.
The staff housing in 133.
No, that didn't go down to a single, that's 5 sleeping rooms.
5 sleeping rooms.
yeah, that's plus 5.
That was the plus 5,
That's the
Yeah.
plus 5.
yeah. So instead of, am I correct, though, that you're arguing you've reduced the requirement, regardless of whether they were ever there or not? We're gonna talk about that some more in a minute.
Right. The net
Your
reduc-
your proposal to the board, the changes that you're making, arguably reduce the need by 5. Okay. In the course of doing that, it's come to light that perhaps it's been a while since you've had a full complement of parking per the ordinance, and you've been doing one thing or another to work around that. We had input at the first part of the public meeting from an abutter that said that this is a problem in the neighborhood right now, though, that in fact it's not, that one of the ways that we work around this is that people find another place to park that isn't, they're not rightfully entitled to. And so we went off and we asked the town to go audit the parking situation. It looks like we found, a couple of new parking spaces, but we haven't found a solution to the dilemma of how do you be a good neighbor, right? And this public forum has sort of surfaced that question. Do you have a thought on that? Is there a process that you've thought about that's going to go address what appears to be a continuing problem? What we're hearing is that there is a continuing problem of people parking off property and infringing on the businesses in the area.
Yeah, I could let the owner speak to that, but one of the proposals was to use signage and things like that to make sure you park where you're supposed to park.
Yeah, so Mr. John is here, my neighbor, and I know he objected
And also
to.
reintroduced herself.
Yeah, so Natarajan. So I'm the owner of Breakwater, and so we had a chat with Mr. John after because I was not here last meeting, I had a personal emergency.
Sure.
But I had a chat with him. See, the challenge is in that area is there is no municipal parking for our, public coming there. It's not just Breakwater. There's other properties we have, and, people have to walk. The reason why we even survive there is all the hotels, we can walk each other.
Yeah.
And help each other for business, and that's why we survive. But in terms of being a good neighbor, and he had mentioned to me recently one incident, and then we discussed a lot of other guests having parking there, and I just came to know through the last meeting how strongly he felt. I said the one way I could do that is put signs in my places, which we did, just to, I showed it to him, we put it on our website, that, as a courtesy to our neighbor, please do not park in Colony, right? That's the main, zone where people can park if they had to go, because the rest is all street parking, or they gotta go to the beach side, or there's a Lobsterman's parking lot just behind us, right? So people park there after 1 o'clock, whenever that space is free. We had proposed something that I think Jan 8th, there is a board meeting happening to see how further help can happen. It's nothing to do with just, we're getting 3 rooms extra or 3 rooms less. Overall, to help that whole neighborhood sort of, pump up help with the parking. Whether it's a paid parking on the street, coming up with that helps for guests for other restaurants, in that area. Especially, Mabel's needs support too. A lot of people come, they drive and they leave because they don't get spot on the road. So there are challenges always there because Kennebunkport is known for downtown, not uptown. And that is a challenge, we face for 7 years. But in terms of the numbers of what we are trying to provide is also, most of our staff are H2Bs. And we strictly tell our staff not to bring the cars because we have properties in Kennebunkport that has, we can have 7 spots. We also have spots in Kennebunk on Water Street that can park almost, I would say, about 15 cars. So what we are proposing is also put a circular to our staff saying that they cannot bring the car, just like Known Anthem does that too. They don't allow it. But we had a challenge saying that, listen, we want to park right here, public parking, right? And then we could have our golf cart go up and down, bringing the staff and even the guests if need be. We have no problem doing that.
You're saying here, I mean, at the fire station here.
Parking here too.
Yeah.
But, people are doing it, but somebody had mentioned to my manager at the time, you can't do it. You cannot have, staff park here. So that's fine, you know, we have our own spot in Kennebunk, we could, you know, shuttle our H2B, you know, we have on-property, housing, so those people don't need cars, they walk. And the people, we bought a house right here in the Kennebunkport that people can walk to the property also. So the need for staff parking will minimize a lot, because the way we are gonna put the structure, you know. Our local staff is not a lot compared to what, you know, most other places, everybody's depending on H2Bs and J1, that's the goal. And we want to make sure Colony is comfortable, you know, whatever plan we can do to protect the guests from us or any other guests of our restaurant going there. That's the goal. We are not here to hindrance and, you know, go out of the way to, you know, tell my guests, go and park there. You know, and it's not our job is to make sure that we get comfortable in our setup, what we do. I spoke to my managers and all, they don't know anything happening like this level. But when he said that, you know, I went back to them, I said,
Sure.
do you really hear guests, oh, we struggle parking, this and that. But a lot of people also, he had suggested one thing which we can also extend to the game is, if our guests have a wedding and they naturally live in, you know, stay in another hotel, we could go pick them up and sort of, you know, come there as a contract.
Sure.
So whatever to help the neighbor, we're gonna do it. I don't see this as a big point that, you know, 1 or 2 spots is gonna make him go away. The whole idea is to come up with a plan to support him, so our guest doesn't go there. That's all I can do, you know. As a courtesy, I already started the first process, you know, and I can see the plan behind how we could succeed there. You know, we don't have a municipal parking setup there. I could, you know, set up 2 golf cart, you know, a Ford Transit van, you know, bringing people up and down. You know, most people in Kennebunkport are doing that now. We could do all that, but it also come into the ordinance to support that.
And it changes week by week as well, even throughout the summer. You know, the early part of the summer, the demand isn't as high as the middle of the summer, and it's an adaptive.
Mostly Saturdays.
Yeah.
Weddings are only Saturdays. We don't have weddings any other days. We
And the
only do
4th of
weddings
July
on
probably too. Huh?
Saturdays, so, but, you know, like, there are a lot of options we could do to make sure the neighbors are comfortable, and hopefully, you know, we started the process, you know, we're coming up with circulars, we're coming up with meetings with the staff that they cannot bring the car there. So that'll really help in sort of, you know, minimizing space for our staff and build the guest relation there. That's the goal, and most guests, for our weddings, we insist they stay at the hotel, right? Especially one part of the hotel they have to block. So if they're staying there, they're not, you know, so they're
Sure.
attending the wedding, so that helps. Or they stay at Colony or Known Anthem, so they walk.
Right. But they may be bringing guests from the local area, may come over on the day and who aren't staying at the hotel, or
Absolutely, so.
every
see, that's why we
situation's
couldn't
gonna be
make
a little different.
them See, this is not a foolproof system, okay?
No.
It's not, I'm not saying, but we are trying our best to support the neighbors so they are comfortable with it.
Well, it's the neighbors, but it's also yourself and your brand, that, what you don't want, I'm sure, I found myself thinking that this, if you're successful, as I know you will be and are and will continue to grow, as you grow the property, as you improve the property, it's not gonna make this a smaller problem unless it's addressed top of mind, as something that's important to the brand. It's not, yeah, I like to go there, except, you know, I'm always getting ticketed, or someone's always complaining about parking. No, you're gonna make that go away, and it's only through a proactive
See,
effort.
honestly, I respect that, but also, you know, we need the support of the town too.
Yeah.
You know, in many ways, because,
Say a little more about that.
well, you know, my idea was either come up with just like you have a municipal spot next to Allison's, we need something like that where our guests can go park, and it's no big deal bringing a transportation up and down. That's not difficult. It's not gonna be, you know, many tourist spots do that. There's shuttling, if you go to the airport, they don't allow you to, if you're doing a long-term parking in Portland, you have to, you know,
Yeah.
go 10, 20 minutes away, and then the bus brings them. So same strategy should apply here. I think, you know, if any of the spots here, the town has any land, we can talk about it and converting that into paid parking, because people will pay. Even the street parking there, we could make it a paid parking, and after 1 o'clock, I think most of the requirements will happen, you know, after 3 for the wedding people coming in. I think the
Yeah.
spot we have for the lobstermen, we could convert that into a paid parking, and I don't know, I think Mr. John said he owns the beach land there, so I don't know how much we can do there, you know, in terms of the parking on
Yeah,
the
it's
beach.
protected as well, though, you know, that,
Yeah, so
sometimes.
oh,
we have to really, you know, look
Yeah.
at Kennebunkport, that area as an uptown.
you're suggesting that, this almost sounds like you're suggesting a working group to go address this, on a solution that isn't there.
If you think that's a permanent, you know, solution and people should come there and not drive back out, also, you know, a lot of guests don't wanna go, you know, if I'm going to a restaurant to eat, I'm not gonna park at my neighboring restaurant, that's not right for anybody. If somebody's doing that purposely, that's a different story.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's not, for anybody, that's not good, you know?
I have a suggestion.
Yes, George?
These are important and worthwhile issues that affect the entire town, but not necessarily this application, and we're still in the middle of a public hearing.
Yep.
If there may be other members of the public who want to speak to this, because I know I've got
Are we
other stuff I
open?
want to talk about.
I didn't know we opened.
We didn't open that yet, I don't
We
think.
didn't.
No, we've scheduled one for tonight, though,
I'm sorry, I thought we had continued it and we were still in public hearing.
but we're gonna reopen it in a minute.
But I think it's a valid
No,
point that,
your
you know, I'm
point's a good
sitting,
one.
I'm sitting here thinking,
We're going on and on.
the planning board, I'm not here to come up with a strategic plan for the town's parking.
Right.
Right? I mean, we have to take it into consideration, and it's a precedent that we're gonna set.
Yeah.
But you came to us and said you wanted to change a spa to a room. That's it. Pretty cut and dry. And it opened up this huge ball of angst about the town parking situation. So I think we have to decide, do we table that, or how does that get dealt with? And we have to do something with your application, I think, right?
Of course we do.
Okay.
On the face of it, it's, yes, we're making changes to building, which will reduce the parking. So the question that the board has, because this is a conditional use, is what parking? Where's the parking? We've got a vague parking plan from some point in the past. When a change is made 20 years from now or 2 years from now, someone's gonna say, well, where is that parking plan? That's why we're trying to nail that down. And I think you guys have worked very hard on doing that, and it uncovered a lot of other larger issues. The main issue, though, in terms of the board, is you're reducing the need for parking by making these changes to building. And you've documented the parking as you see it.
Yeah.
I guess what I kind of heard blending into the other one we talked about is it's actually becoming less non-conforming.
Correct.
Yes.
Is what the proposal is, so it's gone from, it was non-conforming.
Yes, although this is not a grandfathered nonconformance, okay,
Right.
just to be
I'm
clear.
just saying, current situation,
Yeah.
proposed, the proposed is less
Yeah.
non-conforming than the existing.
Still correct.
That's right.
But the problem is you have 20 spaces in the 133 lot that are not being used. They're grassed over. And was any parking happen there in the last 12 months?
Well, we only use it when our events, people come in. to
How
park in the
often is that?
morning. Every Saturday, we'll use that.
You have weddings there on Saturday in the summer.
No, it's to park, you know, our tens people, everybody comes, they park there. When the wedding starts, they move it out. I mean, it's not like a guest come and park there. We have never had issues, like personally, you know, since John is saying, oh, you know, people park there, but most of our guests, they have never said, oh, I'm parking in Colony and coming to your wedding. So I don't know that kind of an answer. I'm just trying to say that in the wedding time, we have never had guests park in the grass. We park on the sites, on, you know, the spot that we have there, we park there, the back of it, and many people park at the other side, behind, you know, our 127 too.
But that effectively says your 133 parking is 13 spaces.
Regardless, so again, breaking it down into the big pieces, we established last time that this was a net reduction in demand, was the change of use that was before the board. And we exposed that there is a systemic shortfall in the parking. So, having heard half of the public hearing, we'll hear the rest of it tonight, I thought, well, we need to at least acknowledge it and perhaps devise a condition that would address further investigation and resolution of the systemic problem, either through the establishment, you've talked about a process or a procedure that would be used, including signage, but possibly also including shuttling of staff and/or working with the town to identify an off-site location, or whatever other creative ideas that can be had outside of this forum. I think it's important for us not to just put the blinders on and say, well, this is a net reduction, it's all good, our job is done. I think we hold the public hearings in large part to allow the public to raise issues that are related. Maybe they're a little tangential, but they're important, and I don't think we can afford to just turn a blind eye to it. I think we need to acknowledge that. But I think we also need to acknowledge that this is an important business, and it's one that is growing and improving, and this is a step, albeit a small step, in the right direction of reducing the demand on what is clearly a challenging parking situation.
I don't think we're glossing over it.
Oh, no, good. I hope we're not.
I mean, we got, planning offices here represented, the select board's here represented. I know Laurie was, listening in, last week. I'm sure it's been, one or two topics of discussion at, the current town office. And, it's an ongoing issue and something that many towns, many places all over the world have had to address with, I mean, whether we, just turn Dock Square into a pedestrian zone and bus everybody in, which towns have done, whatever it is the town comes up with. But in terms of the planning board, we've got a choice. We can say, no, we're not gonna approve this because we don't see an adequate parking plan, it's a conditional use, and you have to go back to the drawing table. Or we can approve it and say, you've got a net reduction in the amount of parking that you have to deal with, and you've shown us a plan, and, go forth and good luck.
You've shown us a plan and a willingness to address
Yeah.
what appears to be
And
a process-related
you
problem.
could put conditions on that.
Yeah, and I think that's what we need to talk about maybe a little bit afterwards, about how we craft those.
Yeah.
But to me, it jumps out as saying, I think we need a process that you agree to, that says, yes, I'm going to address this. I'm going to work it with my staff, we're going to meet regularly, we're going to identify a point of contact so that abutters will know who to contact when they find someone on their lot, and it will be addressed. And you're going to keep statistics on it, and you're going to report out on that every few months. And I'd like to ask the code enforcement office to be on the receiving end of that report out. You say, yeah, we have a problem and it's being addressed. Maybe someone will have a bright idea that says, yeah, maybe the village parcel, part of that can be used. If they have a shuttle that will go back and forth or whatever. But maybe Mr. Martin wants to lease out some spaces. I don't know, or put a building structure. But we'll have an opportunity in a second to hear more from them. But I think, I hope you're open to that, to having an ongoing process that makes this a little more transparent and.
I mentioned,
Yeah.
our goal is to be, like, I know the solutions for my own problems, right? If I could move my staff and say, they park here and we will shuttle them, or they
Yeah.
park in my other property, that's surely very much a possibility for me to do. Because, Moon Anthem has done that too, and I can do that. It's not a
Sure.
big deal because we can pass a circular, they cannot come there, we create a timing for pickups and drops. And same thing with wedding guests, if they're staying at other hotels, we could offer them a service
Yeah.
to not drive, because most people, in the party, they'll have a few drinks.
I was gonna say, they won't have, they'll like it better.
Yeah, they don't want to.
So I don't have any issues in these, because I understand all this stuff, and I think it's important that we all work together. My goal is not to hurt anybody here. I mind my business, and I want to, do what I have to pay my
I can
bills.
see that,
that's
we
all.
can see that.
And I could, honestly, I would love to, create these situations and work with the town to see how we could bring parking to,
Of course.
help there. I know there's no physical spot over there, like a whole land, but I'm sure there's some stuff here that
Yeah.
we could talk and, build it.
Okay.
I really appreciate that.
Should I open the public hearing at this point? Galen, are you okay with, do you have anything else to add at this point? You want to open the public
Yep,
hearing?
I'm good.
Is there someone who would like to go to the microphone and say something? No? We're all good? It's all been said. Anybody with their hand raised?
Yes, we have Dan Poirier,
Is there just one hand raised, or is there?
just one hand.
All right, Dan? Mr. Poirier, can you hear us? Have we worn you down?
You might be on mute.
Dan, your mic doesn't appear to be working, though you've unmuted.
Can you hear us now?
Yes, now we can.
All right.
Okay.
All right,
You don't sound like
good
Dan,
evening.
though.
yeah. All right, good evening. My name is Dan Poirier, and I'm with my wife Jan Poirier. We're owners of a condo at 135 Ocean Ave, Point Arundel. I am also the president of the HOA, Point Arundel Condo Association. When we first received notice of the site plan review for 133 Ocean Ave, that the applicant was proposing to change the existing staff housing to a guest housing. However, after the December 3rd planning board meeting, we were notified by Randolph Pepper and Jennifer Sutton, owners at Point Arundel, who attended the meeting by Zoom, on a parking plan that was presented that turned the front lawn into 20 parking spots. Jan and I went to the planning board website and watched the video of the December 3rd meeting. Anyone believes that there are 33 parking spots at 133 Ocean Ave, quite honestly, is daydreaming. And the last statement by the owner of the breakwater to say that they have had parking out on that front lawn. Well, we have been there almost 20 years, and the only parking we've ever seen on that front lawn was a pickup truck maybe dropping some furniture on. So I don't consider that to be parking. Having dealt with the planning board in the past, as well as the Maine Department of Permitting, I find it extremely difficult to believe that anyone would approve that much soil removal in a flood zone, let alone within 75 feet of the river, to pave for a parking lot.
Dan, no one has made any suggestion about any change to that parking area.
Okay.
That's not been a topic of discussion. All that's been done is it's been identified as being the approved parking spaces from a 20-year ago findings of fact. It hasn't, no one said that it is being used actively, only that it has been used to justify that we're close to being where the ordinance is requiring. I think that the fact that no one's using it regularly is part and parcel of what's been identified as an ongoing difficulty with having extra parking spaces available, especially during the peak periods. So that's why we're saying this needs to be, I think Mr. Martin said it best the last meeting, saying this is a neighborhood problem, and it's not something that's going to be wished away. And no one, but again, to put you at ease, no one is talking about paving over that area. It wouldn't be allowed anyway because it is shoreland zone. So don't worry about that.
All right, if I'd like to continue.
Yes, please.
During the large weddings at the breakwater, there is frequently a portable trailer with porta potties brought in and placed in their parking lot, taking up valuable parking spots when they are needed the most. And it was mentioned at the December 3rd meeting that it was also mentioned that there's a shed in that lot, which there is, taking up valuable parking spots. At the December 3rd meeting, there was also a discussion about code enforcement. This past summer, I continually called the highway department and talked to a Miss Stone about trash pickup at the breakwater. Town code states that trash pickup cannot begin before 6:30 a.m., but they frequently picked up at 4:30 to 5:30 in the morning. I have personally talked to the manager of the hotel, as well as writing to the operations manager of the LLC, and have received no response. Hopefully this issue will be resolved this spring. While this is not part of tonight's discussion. It is in a way demonstrates a lack of consideration for the neighbors. Whether it's Point Arundel or whether it is people parking from Mabel's at the Colony parking lot. We've had contractors from the Breakwater park at the association's parking lot. We've also had guests from the Breakwater come into our condo property with keys from the Breakwater, thinking that Point Arundel was part of the Breakwater, and they try to use these keys to get into the condo units.
Sure.
I believe that this application should be rejected as incomplete. The Breakwater has not submitted a correct and accurate plan for their parking issues. And they also appear to have issues with following town code. Thank you very much for your time. And again, I hope you all have a holiday season.
Thank you both.
Can I address this, what he said?
Do we have any other hands raised?
Just to see if there's any. Then yes, I'd like to hear from the applicant.
This is the first time I'm hearing about the trash can at 4:30. Okay, this is the first time I'm hearing myself as an owner. I have no manager has come and told me, as a neighbor has complained.
So you know that's a problem.
You know, and if it is, then I can do is I can have my company, we had the same problem in Algonquin, right?
Sure.
So we put a penalty on the company if they did that,
Yeah.
right? So that's something easily I could fix that, because I can tell, you know, there's an ordinance there, and they listen. Once in a while, you know, one driver, crazy driver won't read it, you know, I understand, but
Yeah.
that's an easy fix, right? In terms of the putting a shed there, we put for the chairs, you know, which we are
Yeah,
moving
yeah.
out now, because I bought a storage facility in Wells, so we will be moving all the chairs after the wedding there. So that's gonna be resolved.
One
So we
more
don't need a
parking
shed
space.
there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
In terms of course, we are not gonna be paving anything, that's not something, you know, we are talking about. Now, guests going there thinking it's breakwater in, maybe we should put a, I don't know what to answer that one, because, you know, if somebody's, you know, thinking that that's part of
Yeah.
breakwater, I cannot help it too much, other than tell them, this is what breakwater is, you know, make a map for ourselves, so they stay within the property, you know. I don't see that we have been if anybody comes from the neighbor, and even John Martin will tell you that if he has issue, I address it right away, with anybody. You know, I don't wait,
Yeah.
you know, if I didn't know something, I cannot help. About this parking issue with the, you know, with the trash can, I didn't know about it. This is the first time I'm hearing that 4:30 somebody picked it up. And, you know, they have been calling.
One of the most difficult parts of being at the top of a large organization is getting those internal, no one likes to bring the boss bad news, right? Their job is to make these problems go away.
This is important.
So you
don't
need to
want
incent,
disturb your neighbor at 4:30.
you
That's
need
the
to
thing.
incentivize that communications within your team, right? Yes, I need that coming to me. I don't need to hear about this in a public meeting.
No, trust me, my staff cry every day to me for everything. So
They
if
do.
it happens, they're gonna tell
All
me.
right, all
Trust
right.
me. I'm one operator who is hands-on everywhere, no
I'm-
matter
I'm-
how many locations I
I'm
run,
not, I think
you know.
some of the other members of the board will be sympathetic too, as part of having worked in large organizations. It is a challenge. It is a management challenge, and, you know, we sense that you're working it, but it's not gonna be something you're gonna solve and then never have to worry about again. This is an ongoing,
Well, sure, we will have to
problem.
have a meeting with our trash, you know, company, and we will, you
Yep.
know.
And a year from now, it's gonna start up again in some other way. There needs, what I'm inclined to ask for is some sort of mechanism that allows these problems to surface and to be dealt with.
Sure,
And,
absolutely, that's
yeah,
what,
that's
you know, I mean, I see the solution in some things, right, I can do. And I'm gonna work towards that goal, you know.
Appreciate
No doubt
that.
about it.
Can I suggest we close the public hearing? Anyone else? Then we will, in fact, close the public hearing. Let's go through the board again. What you thinking about what we should do on this? You can pass if you want, that's fine.
Well, I made the comments about, you know, what's before the planning board versus a strategic parking plan. I don't mean to make light of that.
No.
That's something that needs to happen. I would be more inclined to have a favorable look on this if we did something and said that there was gonna be some sort of checks and balances, that, you know, going forward, someone was gonna check in to make sure that the parking was not, you know, that they didn't suddenly grass over 3 more spots, or, you know, like, just from an ongoing standpoint. But I don't know if that's within our jurisdiction.
Well, I think that in the past, not for parking, but we've had concerns. We had some well situations with a restaurant and facility that got to be enough of a problem that it got neighborhood attention, and the way out of it was to have a process be put in place that reported out, I think it was every 6 months, to say, hey, we made a measurement, and here's how we did. There were this many, you know, in this case, there would be this many problems have been reported, we dealt with them, it's all good. Or not. There would be some visibility raised, and something that wouldn't be too onerous, but something that would allow people to, you know, expose, maybe there's other lurking issues, but Peter, I know you're.
Yeah, I think I'm a dissenting vote on this. I think the problem is caused by, we're not using 20 spaces that are supposed to be used. And I understand why you've got guests that want to enjoy the riverside from the grass and Adirondack chairs. You want to put a wedding venue up there, but the wedding venue is just exacerbating the problem. And I think this should be tabled. I actually agree with the Zoom caller. I think this should be tabled until a definitive proposal is made and signed off on to address the parking situation. And then you can have some enforcement, because you know what you're enforcing against.
Yeah.
And just approving this without that mechanism for what the agreement is, when it starts, and how we're going to enforce it, doesn't solve the problem. So that's my view.
Michael?
I'm trying to figure out who would enforce this. I'm not sure that's code enforcement.
Well, there's only, that's,
That's
so I don't know if you know.
Good question, too. Yeah.
I sent a note to Laurie, who came back and said she was gonna work with, engaging with code enforcement on this. That is the point of contact for this. That's from the town manager.
Okay. That's our job.
And I know that's what we've done in the one other case I'm thinking of, what's it, Hidden Earth, Hidden Pond. You know, has some problems, and making it visible and having a reporting out mechanism, it you know, helped it calm down, and just, it's something that's top of mind then. You can say, look no, you have to do this because it's gonna be reported out.
Whose responsibility is it to put together that plan?
Well, I would put in the findings of fact what the hallmarks of it. I've said before, I think point of contact needs to be identified. And I think a periodic reporting out of number of incidents that are reported, that occur and are reported. I think some signage needs to be put up, and it needs to be reported out to the town on I'm gonna say quarterly basis. Somebody can disagree with me on that. And I'm dying to hear, Galen, your input on this, if you have a thought as to how this could be made as painless as possible to the town office.
Before we go there.
Yeah.
One thing that we can do as a board and should do is have requirements for signage. And that's within the ordinances, signage to enforce parking. Here's, and it's an interesting decision. If the board votes no, and we say, no, we're not gonna do this, absolutely nothing has changed. It will
We've
be
ignored the
exactly the way
problem.
it was before it was raised as an issue.
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna change. In fact, the need for parking is gonna be greater.
We've missed the opportunity to make it better by
Missed-
8 spaces.
Missed an opportunity to reduce the spaces. Just a second, I'm gonna finish this thought.
In a moment.
But yeah, and where we have really hit a block is we've got a vague plan for parking that showed up sometime in the past. And we're using that as a basis for this parking. If that were objectively true, everything that plan it would be an easy decision. Here are the spaces, here's the reduction, great. But it's exposed a much larger
Yep.
issue that the town faces. And, no, it's actually a good growing problem. This is an end of town that is now becoming popular and populated. Everyone should be making money and happy, especially if we can fix the parking. I'm not sure, I wanna hear what Galen has to say and everybody else. I could see where we say, nope, just leave it the way it is, or pretend it never happened, and the parking is whatever the parking is, you guys figure it out. But if it's going to go forward, there has to be an identified plan, a workable plan, so that 20 years from now, when someone's looking at this again, they're gonna say, oh, that's what the board decided, here's why they decided it, because right now, we don't know why the board decided what the board decided to do at whatever point in time it was. And I'll contrast it to the colony, when you guys came before the board with a larger master plan, we had very definite parking. Parking was part and parcel to that. That's how it worked. So I don't know. I'll listen to anybody else.
I wanna
It's
hear,
not an easy.
Well, and to complicate things, well,
let's hear from,
Yeah,
you wanted to comment on that.
I understand how you guys feel about this situation. Like I said, me not doing this is not going to resolve ongoing parking problems.
Who's that help?
area,
Who's
correct.
that help? Yeah.
I look at it this way, the spa had 2 or 3 technicians coming there, right? People from outside also came to use the spa, right, not just the hotel guests. And the gym, we had nonstop people knocking for the gym, paying $10 from, other properties, and they used to park there and try to use the gym. When I looked at it, for $10, renting a gym for somebody to do their, exercise in the morning is just blocking my parking. So if I eliminate that, I just need 4. And practical purposes, it's gonna create a less crowd, right? We're not gonna have technicians coming there, we're not gonna have outside guests coming and just using the gym or the spa. So in that practicality, I think it makes sense for that building. In terms of saying the guest in, the staff housing, I'm sure if I have staff staying there, they also need parking. If you take it in a practical approach, because those people staying there H2Bs, we don't really, we can really curtail that game and help, saying our staff cannot park on property and we will come, bring them from here, or identify my other properties I have that I could park there and bring them, shuttle them out. That's absolutely possible. So you're gonna save, in a general terms of thinking, by doing this, instead of old beaten up building, you're gonna get a nice looking place. When people sit in Colony, they're gonna look at this building and say, oh, it's a nice looking building across, right? And they're gonna enjoy that. And I think, the guest wedding is, the idea is to give it to a family. So if I do it to a family, that stuff, I personally think if there are 4 people, 5 people staying, they're gonna bring 2 cars. We could restrict that too. We can say that, we have restricted parking, so you cannot, bring more than a certain number of cars for that building, We don't need 5 spots, So it's like a practical approach of thinking, how to fight this, right? Or we could reduce it to a 4-bedroom and play with that, something. Because the spa seems pretty much justified itself in that building. You guys are happy with that, I guess, I don't know. But in terms of this building, if you want to restrict that, I don't know.
I don't know if we're happy.
I don't think we're smart,
unhappy.
we're not smart enough to do that. I was just thinking that in an ideal world, I think you're right in looking at this as the parking available for both. You don't need to say, oh, no, that's yours and that's yours. It's not clear to me you really know how that parking is being utilized down to the day-by-day basis. You have a general feel, like you say, the spa's taking too much space and I need to adjust this, but you really would like to have a plan that said, I can fit within the number of spaces I really have. And I'm talking about excluding that grassed-in area. How can I run this business with 2/3 of the number of spaces that the ordinance said I needed? Well, I'm gonna do some smart things, I'm gonna do some shuttling, I'm gonna
That's
do these things,
absolutely
and
the
then you're
plan.
gonna have to monitor your progress against that smart plan.
So like I said, the goal is to, sort of have these plans implemented that we're talking about.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I've
That's
heard
when
some
that's
smart
something
ideas
we
here.
can sit with the town, I can sit with anybody and work through,
Yeah.
a system, That's all I
Again,
can
I
say.
want to
I
hear
can
from
try my
Galen on
best.
this, just to.
Yeah, but
before-
one thing that the
okay.
board could do is make a condition, if we approve it, a condition of, because the town does require employee parking, we could make a condition that employees would be parking elsewhere, and I know you've got other properties in the neighborhood.
So we could do that. That's not-
We can, but I'd like to see that as part of a larger plan that said,
Yes.
and that then would allow me to have this much parking.
And David's making hand motions.
Well,
Can I-
and
Can I ask you a question? So you have two proposals here that we're dealing with as one proposal, which is causing the traffic, causing you the parking problem. Is the one, when you have excess parking at 127 Ocean Ave, which you want to take the spa and turn it into 4 guest rooms, you still have excess parking for that project, if we deal it as 2 projects. Is there up to you, potentially, is there a possibility that you're willing to move forward with 127 Ocean Ave and put 133 to the side for now until this other stuff gets dealt with? Yeah, I mean, you have 2 agenda items and you have 2 proposals. We are treating it as one, but that ball gets thrown back into your court.
I think you're still doing the same thing though, David, in terms of.
I'm just saying, if he wanted to just change, in my opinion, if he wanted to just change the 4 spa rooms to 4 guest rooms, he has excess parking.
No problem.
done.
Done, it's done deal. I mean, I'm just.
No, I agree with you.
Right? But
See,
you're trying to
don't-
push.
I
I'm
don't-
No, I don't
um,
see that he does have that excess parking.
At
Maybe I'm not.
127.
At 127.
You're saying 127 doesn't depend on anything from,
It's got plenty of
That's grass-
parking,
that's
and
grass.
he's asking
He-
for 4
I
fewer.
don't mind,
but if he's doing that, he's taken away more from 127.
Yeah,
You've exacerbated the 127
making it
problem.
less non-conforming, or it's not even.
More
not
non-conforming. He's making 133 more non-conforming, though, because it's
And it's-
relying on the parking that now he's gonna say he's
And it's
claimed.
already conforming. 127 is conforming, he's got
You,
parking.
you just made, okay. I hear you. I think this is
I'm just asking, if you had just come in for 127, the parking issue might have not come
see, I
up.
don't mind if you
wouldn't.
guys can approve 127 and then put a condition on 133 and see what conditions that we could sign and then we could take to the next step. So I don't mind that.
I'd like to continue to give him the latitude of adaptively using this parking, because I think in fact that's what they're doing.
We're using the grass parking.
No, but they're using other parking that's down there
I like
along the
David's
side.
suggestion, I wanted to hear what Galen had to say.
Yeah,
In
so,
particular, in
what do you
terms
need
of the
guidance
burden,
on?
the burden
So-
on monitoring, if they would commit to an ongoing monitoring of improving this parking problem in the neighborhood.
Can I,
Go ahead.
I understand that there's a parking problem in the neighborhood, and I understand that there's possibly gonna be some conversations after the new year about that. There's no promises on that, and that's not an easy fix. So, I'm just telling you, I mean,
No,
the town's got certain priorities, and we need to figure that all out. But I know that's coming, I can't promise anything on that right now.
I think David's observation is apt. If this were just an application for 127, it's pretty easy. We're reducing the amount of parking. You already have enough parking at 127. I think that'd be an easy approval. 133 has problems. If we just approved, at this point in time, 127, you gain 4 hotel rooms. Which is,
I would take it, the only thing is.
which is good for business. Which is good for business, and if 133 were continued as an ongoing discussion on what to do with that, including combining parking on 127, it might eliminate that project or might delay that project as other parts of the town are discussing, but 127, I think 127 straight ahead as a separate property. Does anybody else on the board see a problem with 127?
I'd have to see the numbers, but it certainly,
Yeah, I think it makes it clearer, but I have serious concerns about 133.
Yeah.
Right?
Right, so if he withdraws
I'm a big fan
133.
of Google Earth, right? And if I look at a satellite shot of that property right now, I have a hard time finding one parking spot. so let alone more than one.
133.
133, and if I take their diagram that they've provided, which is a drawn diagram, and I overlay that onto a live shot, not live, but you know, like satellite image, there are no parking spaces where they say there are parking spaces. So I think that, in my mind, is just gonna table that discussion, but they can get along with 127. But they're probably gonna have a bigger problem if they wanna ever do anything with 133.
If there were a motion right now for the board to approve 127, what would be the big objection to 127? Remove 133 from the.
Like if we never knew 133?
Never knew 133 existed.
I don't think there would be one.
I'm just saying, I know, 127 requires 37 spaces. The property at, what appears, the property at 127 has 61 spaces.
Is what they're proposing,
Is
yeah,
what-
59.
50.
Well,
59.
but 59, okay, but
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
ample.
They could sell spaces, they've got more than spaces than they need. it's up to the applicant. The applicant has to decide if he wants to split it. We are
Is
doing
there-
as two,
They are
but
two
it's only
separate
one.
But is there anything legally, like the deeds or anything, that have to have them be together? I don't
No,
know if that's
no.
oh, okay.
And those are my questions the first night.
They're two
It's like-
separate
Is
lots.
there a reason that you did it together? Like, do you have plans for?
No, he didn't. He submitted two separate applications.
Yeah,
Oh.
there's two separate applications.
I did that to them. We did that.
Oh, okay, all right.
I mean,
Because
you know,
the parking looked like it, and it still looks like it's all intermingled.
It is.
I think, you know, if you approve 127, and if you wanna put a delay the 133 based on the fact that we come up with certain conditions, you know, I don't mind that, if it can happen.
I think that if you do this, if you do this, I would ask you to withdraw 133 and come back with a plan that satisfies parking. I don't see how you're gonna do that, okay?
That can only happen if I come up with the conditions, you know, of having staff of parking and all that, you know.
Well, yeah, at
Or you
least.
use the grass.
No, and it's not gonna do that.
We will not use
That's
the
gonna
grass.
change the whole
It-
business
it-
model.
It kills the beauty of the game there, you know,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that, but, you know, the thing is, if, in terms of, you know, saying, if we do 127,
Yep.
and then we come up with certain conditions, and I think the town is also, should help us in a way, because I think the challenges are there, to see how we could increase parking in that area, or come up with, you know, a spot here that we could commute our guests and our staff, whatever. I don't mind that for 133.
I think that, again, hypothetically, we do this. You split off 133. Either we deal with it in a separate way or you withdraw it. In either case, I'm back to what Mr. Martin asked us 2 weeks ago. He says, where do I go with this? Now, maybe the answer now is we've had this discussion and you guys are talking and everything is good, but it seems to me that it's bigger than a two-person problem, that there needs to be a concerted effort to implement a process change and then monitor it and improve it over time as the
Absolutely, we are in for
situation
that. I
evolves.
mean,
I think all that's outside the planning board.
It-
So I'm
it-
gonna,
it
I'm
is.
gonna try this.
All right?
I make a motion that we approve the application for 127 Ocean Avenue as it's submitted.
Or second.
I think that we decided to couple them together, and I think we should make a decision on them. So what are you proposing that we do with 133?
I'm not proposing anything on 133. I'm treating them as two separate applications, which physically they are. We've been combining them in our discussions, and we've been, you know, stating. we've been combining
No, I
them.
understand that.
So why don't we
How-
decline 133, accept 127?
I'm not, I did, the motion on the floor.
Don't
which has
touch, then
been- which has
I
been
second
seconded,
127
And,
then.
and it's been seconded.
Okay.
The motion is, should we approve 127? We'll see what happens.
So then I
We wanna
approve
see-
as well. So
We
that's
want to
three.
see what happens.
Because if 127 is approved.
What do you want to happen?
If one, I want, a local business to be able to advance their business. And the 127, if it had only been 127, we would have approved this 3 meetings ago. But it's 133 that's the albatross, it's the anchor. And that's a problem that is a larger problem that needs to be solved. But 127 could be solved, and having done some business stuff, I'd like to make $1 here, even if I can't make it.
Progress forward on 127. Get that decided, either approve or disapprove the motion on the floor. Then take up 133, which may not be approved, and either continued based on a plan or withdrawn.
Yep.
You're saying because the argument that the applicant made, which was 133 should be approved because it was going to utilize parking in 127, you want to deny that argument. You're no longer doing
We're
that.
gonna say that the current plan being proposed for 133 does not meet our approval. So there needs to be additional work on coming up with a plan with reporting, staff, shuttle parking, whatever, but there needs to be more detail in order for us to approve that.
Okay,
Not necessarily saying that you couldn't utilize anything at 127.
good.
As long as you don't infringe on what we approved there and the required a number of parking spaces for that facility.
What's your thoughts,
That's fine.
John?
Keeping in
As
mind,
long as-
that the original ask for 133 was to convert the staff house to a guest house, which.
Right, so you're
then
not
would
going to be
off
able
the
to do
table.
that
Off the table.
for the
Right.
moment.
Like to
Yes.
see what conditions we could work together for that.
Yeah.
And I
So
would
you
love
still
get
have to
that,
come
but
to-
at this point, I
Right.
would take 127.
So that would let me say back to you that what we'd like to see on that application then is a plan for a process that would more clearly address the parking shortfall. Acknowledge it and address it. And not say, oh, we want to count the spaces that are covered with grass and chairs. That would be realistic, and it would involve something that was innovative and something that wouldn't be exactly line for line what's in the ordinance. I
I
want
think there's a
Galen to hear
meeting,
that.
right, in Jan 8 for the selectmen, something, that you can come and talk about.
Lots of people got meetings. But we do have. a
No,
motion
select,
on
I
the
think
floor.
he's talking about a selectman
I'm sorry,
meeting.
what was your question?
I heard there was a meeting on Jan 8. where we
Well,
could come
there's
and discuss.
a select board meeting at January 8th, and, that agenda has not been set yet. Anyone is free to come and bring up any issue that isn't on the agenda. I don't think that the parking out in that neck of the woods is gonna be an agenda item, but you could come and you could talk about it, your issue. And then it would go from there. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I just don't think that the town is gonna be able to solve the overall neighborhood parking issue down in that neighborhood in January. We're not there. I mean, it's a bigger conversation that's going on across the town, involving other issues. So I'm just telling you, it's not gonna, you are more than welcome to come and talk about it and kind of raise it as an issue to the select board, but they're not gonna solve it at that meeting.
So we can come up with a plan of what you want, and I'll write it down, everything, like a proposal.
I think that's the way I would, if I was in your shoes, that's what I would do, is I would come back, if we go this way, approve 127, and I know there's a motion on the table. This is discussion for that.
Sure is.
That would leave 133 hanging. I would ask you to either continue this application or withdraw it and come back with another one, however that is better for them to work. And come back with a plan that says, we have a parking shortfall. We've got, I'm gonna pick a number, 20 spaces over on 127 we're gonna use. And here's how we're gonna make up the rest of it. We're gonna do this with staff, we're gonna do this with
Guest or whatever.
whatever it is we're gonna do. The town is working with us, and we're gonna do a shuttle up to, this other lot, or whatever it is.
That's fine.
And we know this is gonna be tough, so we're gonna monitor it. We're gonna have clear points of contact, so when other hotels, when other vendors have a problem, they have my cell phone number, or they have someone's cell phone number that they can call, and, because I think that was a legitimate concern that said, I don't know who to call. I can't call the police on this. I can't call the code enforcement office. I'm just not sure how to go about this. So some clear mechanism that says how to manage what is clearly a difficult situation.
Yeah, and it's a seasonal issue as well.
Well, the business
You don't really have
is
that
seasonal.
problem today.
No, but they don't have the business they'd
It's a
like
3
today
month
either.
business,
There you
we
go.
have to survive there.
Yep.
That's why it's so
And that's
important
exactly
to
why-
solve it.
So John had a bigger plan for a bigger room, because the more the room, you're gonna make survive better in the 3 months. That's what I'm trying to do also.
Yep.
Is what, I
Okay.
just have 35 rooms, right, total. That's not enough to pay the game, what was happening, before.
Thank you.
Okay.
So,
I think we have a
we've,
way
we've
forward.
closed the public hearing at this point, right?
Got a motion on the floor?
Galen, do you have a comment on this motion, or?
No, I think you're fine with 127, because that's, the parking issues are not with this
You
application.
don't think we're doing the wrong thing by postponing 133? And
No, I think that either postpone it or it should be withdrawn by the applicant until a solution is developed. And I don't think that solution's going to happen tonight. I don't think it's gonna happen.
No, it's
Shortly,
gonna be
so-
difficult, and it needs to come with some thoughtful work that's gonna require cooperation from some of your neighbors and the town. All right, so with that, I will call a vote on the motion. All those in favor of the 127 to approve
I'm still not in favor.
of 127?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you-
Can I
how did
just
you
be
vote?
clear why?
I haven't-
127 has enough space, right?
They have enough space, except that 133 is parking there. And so they really don't have enough space. They're parking there. They don't, oh, I'm living in 127 for the next 2 days, that's where I
I'm
park.
convinced they're gonna solve that, but yeah.
I'd like to see the plan,
Okay.
and I don't see a plan,
Okay, so
that's-
4 to
4-1.
1. I hear you, I understand why, I just wanted to be clear.
4-1.
I know you don't treat this casually, Peter. I
Yeah.
value your input. We all do. So do I have a motion on 133?
That's my next question.
Or is there a thought that you would like to withdraw 133?
I'm fine either way, it's almost like a withdrawal. till
You
I
need to
get
come
the-
up, you need to come up to the mic.
It's almost like a withdrawal till I get something
Yeah.
in paper, so it's
So I
fine.
think that's what we'd like to encourage you to
That's
do. Otherwise, it's gonna be a separate application and monies and all of that, so.
Yeah.
We had a public hearing and closed it. I would make a motion that we continue 133 Ocean Avenue until
What do
a
you-
meeting where we revisit it.
So they have, I believe, 6 months of an inactive application before it gets
Okay.
removed.
And they have the option to extend that,
They can.
To request, yeah.
to request. And I'm assuming if they withdraw it and reapply, there's a fee that goes there.
Yep.
So by continuing and working the next 6 months or possible the extension, he doesn't have to submit a new fee again.
Yep.
So
I'm fine, like, I'm,
Keep
I'm
in
gonna work
mind-
on a letter, I'm gonna
Keep
work
in
on the
mind,
system.
by continuing the application, you're not going to have another public advertisement, because that's an extra cost. That's usually associated with a new application.
It would be on an agenda,
Right.
yeah.
But just letting the abutters know, they're not gonna get notification letters again if you decide to have another public
But
hearing.
if they're on the distribution for agendas, they'll see it.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a
No, I don't-
motion on the floor to continue
133.
133. I second.
Thank you.
Yes,
Favor?
Yeah, fine with that.
yes, that was a 5-0, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we needed to do that, but, yeah. Thank you, David and Galen. All right, brings us to the next item.
Gomez.
250801 Bath Lane, Fomes Development.
And I would plug your openings on the planning board.
Can I say I'm not interested?
You already have.
Maybe one of the select board.
Good evening.
Hiya.
James Lowry, BH2M. Here, we've got Jess Gerard, Pac Maynard, and Fomes Development, Mike Mazzoni and Doug Foglio in the back, the applicants. I'll keep it brief, as I know we've got a public hearing scheduled, but just to refresh everybody, what we have proposed is a 4-lot subdivision on roughly 3.8 acres, right there at the intersection or corner of Bath Lane and Old Cape Road. A private road called Driftwood Drive, comprising of a 16-foot gravel road, is proposed off of Bath Lane to come up and serve the 3 lots in the more northerly section of the site. Public water, as we discussed at the last meeting, is the details of that is getting worked out with the water district, but that's, our approach has changed from when we originally submitted the application to move forward with public water instead of private wells. There will be private septics. As I noted, we've received some technical comments from the water district. Since our last meeting, we're working on addressing them. And in addition to that, we also got stormwater review comments the day of our prior meeting, or previous meeting, and they are still in the works to get ironed out. So all of that is a quick synopsis of where we stand with the project, and if you have any immediate questions, I'm happy to answer, or we can go through things in more detail after the public hearing.
I don't have any questions.
There were 2 letters,
Correct, there were.
and I might be worthwhile, they're rather extensive, might be worthwhile going through them point by point. I presume you've had a chance to look at them?
I'm happy to do that. I have a response drafted up for the letter that came in from the attorney representing the Burke property.
Yes?
Happy to walk through that, or if you want to do that, and I can encompass any other comments that comes up in the public hearing all at one time, whichever you prefer.
I think one of the concerns is if we open a public hearing and people continue to raise exactly the same issues, if there's an opportunity to address them, that might make the public happier. What does everybody else think?
If we have a response ready, it would be good to hear it.
Response ready would be good, because if there's someone itching for an answer to number 3 and you've already got one, that would be good. Which letter would you like to go through first, do you think?
Oh, well, I have the response, we had the time to put together a formal response
Yes.
to the letter from Archipelago Law.
Yep.
So I can provide that to,
Is there a representative here from Archipelago that's going to speak? Would you prefer him to address it up front, or would you like to speak to it first? Whatever's.
Typically, it's the member of the public gets to speak first,
Yeah.
and then he will respond.
Yes, I know that.
I'm more than whatever the board's comfortable with.
Did you open the public hearing?
I have not opened the public hearing. That was suggested that maybe we didn't want to, but.
So generally, under the planning board rules, normally you allow the applicant to give a broad overview of the application.
Right.
And then after that, you would then open the public hearing and then allow
And go
the
through
residents to
specifics.
speak.
That's
Yeah.
fine. It's been a while since we've had this
Yeah.
kind of specificity.
James, you okay with that? I think you've
that's
given
what I
us,
thought was the,
given us the
way to go
overview.
the first time.
Yeah.
That is what you were proposing. That's okay. Thanks, George. You're being thoughtful about it, and it won't be the last time, and that's a good thing.
Might be the last time I'm thoughtful. Just wait and see.
We'll keep score. I would like to then open the public hearing. Is there someone who'd like to speak? Here in the front?
Hi, my name is Sharon Philbrick. My family owns property on the, I guess, the opposite side of Bath Lane. And my question is, putting 4 lots in this area, what impact will that have to any other people who want to maybe put, 2 properties or 2 lots for houses in that same area? So is that going to have a negative impact on other people being able to have buildings put in, is one of my questions. And my other question is, who's going to control the Bath Lane? Is that being changed in any way? Is that still private, or does it become public? Because there's already quite a few houses up there, so I'm just curious on what the town is thinking about in regards to that.
Okay. James, would you like to respond? And Sharon, your last name was? Philbrook. Thank you.
From our understanding, Bath Lane will remain private. There's a existing road maintenance agreement on Bath Lane that, sort of acknowledged the ability for other lots to be developed. I mean, Fomez is taking advantage of that provision to be able to, develop their piece off of Bath Lane. So sort of what we muddled through at the last meeting in the Bath Lane Road Maintenance Agreement, there is no defined denominator of how many parties are subject to the Bath Lane Agreement. It's all based on the number of residents utilizing the road for ingress and egress. So, from our perspective, from my perspective, what we are proposing to do, unless there's, another limit by something from the town, wouldn't detrimentally impact others from developing and adding parcels onto Bath Lane.
Is there a, who pays for the plowing now on Bath Lane?
I presume the residents that have existing homes on Bath Lane. I don't know if that's who's spelled out in the maintenance agreement, is that it's the responsibility of the lot owners that use Bath Lane.
There's an existing road maintenance agreement?
Correct.
And
That was
and who
provided-
manages it, though?
The residents, the internal residents of Bath Lane. They
As
are
a
party
as
to
a
the-
practical matter, today, who's engaging the plow guy?
I do not know that. Mike or Doug, do you guys know? Phil Bath, who lives down at the end of the road.
Okay.
And I don't know if he's the only year-round resident or how that is handled.
In any event, they're gonna have 4 more contributors after
Exactly.
this development
Correct.
to that
Right.
expense.
Yep.
Okay.
Does that impact like fire or anything?
Can you stand up? Yeah.
Does that impact fire? I mean, that's like a pretty big expansion.
Well, I know the fire chief has had to look at this.
Yeah.
I think there's a hydrant that's being added.
Correct.
As a result of his review, and so, yes, of course, it
'Cause I know
needs
I
to
had-
consider fire.
Conversation with Billy at one time, and he had concerns that that future development may impact, like, the road needing to be made larger or something
Right,
because of,
right.
fire emergencies, we all know they happen.
Right, right, so that has been discussed and reviewed and will be considered.
Okay.
It hasn't been flagged as a problem. I don't see it haven't seen it as a problem, but it hasn't been overlooked. You mentioned two things, though. You mentioned, what was?
Affecting development of other properties.
For other properties,
Oh.
will that have any impact on it?
I'm trying to
Which
understand.
property are you referring to?
It would be basically right on the opposite side of that lane.
So
what's
part
the
that's
address?
undeveloped there.
Isn't that owned by the town?
Yeah.
I believe that at the very end is where, she's pretty close to the intersection with the Old Cape Road.
No, it's up further.
It's up far above the town's property.
Is it on Old Cape?
No, it's on back lane. It is. On this side of it.
I'm still struggling to understand the concern. See if you can make it,
Oh, back lane.
Beth Lane runs down the
Here, on
bottom.
this side of that.
So-
Wait, that's Oak Cape Road, where's that?
That's
lane?
Old Cape.
This is that,
Yep.
yours is here, ours is over here.
So that is, we
That
understand, is the town's property here.
No, there's a parcel that's not owned by the town.
We'll
I paid
We'll
taxes
clarify
on
where
it.
that is.
So the simple answer, I think, is I nothing's been discussed to me that would flag that as prohibiting or encouraging and influencing in one way or the other, whether that property could be developed. Do you have a,
Would that property be accessing Bath Lane? Yes.
Yes, I've got the number. It's
Yeah, you-
2299.
you'd have to join that
Right. Yep.
road maintenance agreement, I think.
Well aware.
Yeah, no, I'm just speculating here.
So your question is this development going to impact your ability to develop? Is that my understanding?
Correct.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
It's-
Good question.
You'd have to meet all the land use standards like anyone else, so,
Obvious.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
But what about the road? If we add another property back on Bath Lane?
So the road has to meet the dimensional requirements.
Right.
Which
But
it's
will
already
that
50,
make
it's
it-
already 50-foot right of way.
Yep.
So I think,
They would only be impacted by Bath.
So at what point does that have to be larger? I guess I'm not aware.
The right of way already is at the limit it needs to meet the town standards.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Anyone else?
You two can duke it out. There's two people who are interested.
Oh, okay, go ahead, I am too.
You can, that's gonna be fine.
Oh, that's, good evening.
Good evening. My name's Heather Stolazzi Ward. I'm a resident at 5 Reynolds Lane. I emailed Nadia earlier, and I had a couple of comments I wanted to just put out there for consideration.
Yeah.
This is also in conjunction with my neighbors, Leslie and Jeff Perlman at 6 Reynolds Lane, and Deanne Marie at 106 Main Street. We all use Reynolds Lane as access to our properties.
And just help us remember where Reynolds Lane is on this diagram that's in the front. It's up in the, yeah, okay. It's the one that was talked about
It
as
juts out into it.
possibly being a back channel access.
It's actually
or-
off Old.
It used to be a
It's
fire
off Main
road.
Street.
Right.
Yeah.
So my husband and I live here, the Perlmans are here, and Deanne Marie is right off.
So right now, there's no plan that I've heard from James to connect this new street with Reynolds Lane.
That was one of my questions.
Did I understand that correctly?
That is very correct.
But there is a possibility for that with the way the open space was.
And the fire chief mentioned something about that.
I'll
Okay,
let
Yeah,
Heather
okay.
comment, and I'll address all of that.
okay, thank you.
Well, regarding that use of Reynolds Lane, the 3 property owners on Reynolds Lane, we're not in support of that extension off Reynolds Lane for any purposes of the project.
You just don't want the traffic.
We don't want the
Yeah.
traffic, we like the privacy.
Yeah.
I don't really see a need for it. There's access off of Bath Lane, it's not far, it's wide enough. So I'd be interested to hear what the need would be if it's proposed.
Downed tree or something like that, that would give you another method of egress, that's all, something like that.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
trying to conceive of a situation,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Okay. My second comment are regarding wetlands. Just for background, I'm a wetland scientist, and I can see from my property and looking at the wetlands delineated by Mark Hampton, the applicant, that I'd like to have a relook at them because it appears that a segment was left off potentially. I can see hydrophytic vegetation and drainage, hydrology in areas that was not delineated as wetland, directly coming from a culvert. I can point it out.
That would help.
And so the wetland here, it ends right here in the open space. There's a drainage that comes along. It may even be a stream that comes along paralleling Reynolds Lane and then goes through a culvert and outlets here.
I see.
My property's here and
Yeah,
you can see the drainage.
Is this culvert on Reynolds Lane, or it's separate from Reynolds Lane?
It runs under Reynolds Lane?
Runs under Reynolds Lane, thank you.
And this is a forested pedestrian wetland?
It is, yeah, it is. Where the drainage is, where I believe the wetlands were cut short, is a pedestrian scrub shrub wetland.
Okay.
There are some trees there too, though.
And drainage goes down toward Old Cape Road,
It goes to the north.
goes to the north. Okay. Heather, could you grab that microphone? Thanks.
Drainage runs north along Reynolds Lane, under Reynolds Lane, outlets through a culvert here, and
And
then
then into that green area.
through the open space, and then
Underneath.
off into
Okay.
the delineated wetland.
Thank you.
Mhm. Let's see. Oop. The other point I wanted to raise was the one of agency consultation. So I'm curious if the board will require any consultation with Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife or the Maine Natural Areas Program. I looked on the town website, and it looks like the area is a turtle conservation area, which I believe would be worthy of requesting additional consultation with those two agencies.
So I just did get an updated map of the wildlife habitats from 2021. I saw your letter, and I didn't see an indication of any local rare animal that they shield the information, but they have it labeled on the map. We just did a Beechwood Avenue, a subdivision off there for the Housing Trust, and that one did have a rare animal indication on it, and it was later determined it was a spotted turtle location. So I didn't see that reference on the maps, so I'm more than happy to look them over with you. But I just I didn't see anything there.
Yeah, from what I understand, IF&W is now masking turtle occurrences because they're trying to protect them
Yeah.
from either harassment or collection.
Sure,
So, and it's a new practice.
I understand why.
So your habitat viewer maps will show the broader area as like a turtle conservation area, but it won't show where the turtle locations actually are.
Okay. Yeah, I have an inquiry in with the department to ask them about that. So
Okay,
once we hear back,
Great.
we'll let the planning board know.
yeah, great. The area is also within a focus area. So it's the Biddeford Kennebunkport Vernal Pool Complex. And, you know, as indicative by these rare turtle sightings, there's clusters of vernal pools in the area, and it's been identified as a focus area. I don't believe there's any legal protection for focus areas, but I think it's worthy to note, so folks know.
Okay. I'll be interested to hear what James has to say. I know you did have a survey, a wetland survey vis-à-vis significant vernal pools.
And for what it's worth, my son and I identified a spotted turtle walking down Reynolds Lane towards Lot 4. So that was reported in 2020, and it's masked, I believe is what IF&W said, for those reasons I stated before, because trying to protect the locations. And then I'm curious for lot number 4, just given the rare turtle habitat and the 75-foot shoreland zone set back to the stream and the FEMA flood zone that encroaches into lot 4, that in combination with a huge knoll of ledge, I'm just curious if there's actually room for a house. I'm not a civil engineer, so maybe someone could speak to that. But I'm curious what the standards are for that 75-foot shoreland zone setback. I understand there's 2 waivers or variances being requested. Is that one of them?
No.
Okay.
No, I think there was a waiver request to not do the hydrological survey.
Hydrogeological assessment.
Right.
And the high-intensity soil
And the
survey.
high-density soil survey.
Okay, okay. And just a comment on aesthetic and privacy and noise reduction. If this is an approved subdivision, my neighbors and I would request as much vegetated buffer as possible, just to, maintain some privacy and also a little bit of habitat for any rare species that are in the area. I guess particularly along the southern side of the proposed road.
Again, could you highlight, bring the mic over and just show us where we need the mic probably, but.
Any sort of vegetated buffer along this area would be helpful for the neighbors here.
You made.
South side of the road is what she's saying, from.
Yes, the
open
south
area
side.
down.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So on lot 4, this is a knoll ledge. I don't see the shoreland zone on here, and FEMA, but I believe it kind of takes this corner off, this eastern corner. So I'm not quite sure where that house would go, but
On
maybe
that-
they'll blast
on that
the ledge.
Topmost lot.
Yes, yep, lot 4 here. Mhm. Oh, thank you.
So, what I'm hearing is that off the property map of the subdivision we're looking at, there is a wetland, there's a stream, there's something, that's off that corner of lot 4?
Yes, there is a stream.
Okay.
Mhm.
And, are we showing, I don't have the plan in front of me, are we showing from, the FOMES development, any line that relates to where that stream is off property?
We will be. That is
Okay.
one of the comments that was brought up by the attorney.
Microphone.
I've got a,
Microphone, I'm sorry. It's for people who are watching online, they
Yep.
can't hear.
one of the comments from the abutters attorney broached that topic. I've done some research into some off-site plans.
Okay.
And part of what I had prepared to address the attorney's comments has a sort of an exhibit snapshot of what we have pulled together onto our plan to address that comment
So
and
any-
show where the stream setback
any
would fall on
Building
lot 4.
envelope, any building
Right.
envelope would be affected by that.
Heather, to your question about the vegetative buffer, your letter said that the site plan shows the access road.
Thank you.
Directly adjacent to the property line.
That's how I understood it.
That's what I wanted to understand. Maybe I don't understand where the property line is, and James, I could use your help on this too.
I think the proposed, I believe the lot line is here, but I may be mistaken. Is
James,
it,
where-
is it here?
Can you help
That's
her?
correct. Yep.
Okay,
You're saying that road is right, butt up against the property line?
I believe it is.
The right-of-way of the road is right against, it runs right along the property line. There's no spite strip or anything like that in between the right-of-way for Driftwood Drive and the abutting property there.
Driftwood Drive.
So Driftwood Drive is
That's the new road.
pretty much, Driftwood Drive is the new road, and
And you're saying
it
there's.
runs adjacent to, it's right on the property line, it looks to me.
And
The
your,
right-of-way.
and your point.
The right-of-way.
The road is offset a little bit to allow for some grading, but
Microphone
I
again,
know.
sorry.
Actually, had more than one, yeah.
So you're correct. This is showing the full right-of-way of the road. It's a 33-foot right-of-way. The gravel road itself is only 16 feet wide. So you've got room on each side of the right-of-way for grading, ditching, anything
But-
along those lines.
So the comment that says that there's a requirement to have a vegetative buffer left between the road and adjacent properties.
We will.
is a valid one, you're saying?
No, so
not.
I believe the standard they're referring to is a forested, is it 40-foot buffer? That is only for town roads. So because this is a private road, that standard does not apply to this subdivision.
Understood.
Yeah.
Is there any requirement for maintaining a forested buffer?
No.
For private roads?
Not currently, but the growth planning committee is looking into that right now. So
Okay.
there are our committee, local town committee, that looks at amendments to our land use ordinance. So they are looking at doing something, especially in the farm and forest zone of Kennebunkport, but right now there isn't, just for town roads.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Well, I guess given that there's no requirement to maintain a forested buffer, I would ask that that might be part of the consideration. So,
Thank you.
yeah, that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
want to respond to that?
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
All right. Go through these really quick. Let me first touch on the wetlands. We will, by the time I got through a few things today, I need to reach back out and confer with our wetland scientist to better understand if this portion is in fact wetland, and if it is, we'll note it on the plan. As proposed, the extent of the wetland came through and on the other side of the the road here. So, if it is wetland, unless, as Heather noted, which I don't expect right through here, that there will be a section of stream, it'll be just a portion of, as we have it now with the open space, undisturbed wetland area.
You don't have a culvert designed in?
Yes, there will be a
There-
culvert there.
There is,
Yes.
okay. So
Yep.
you anticipated something.
So even just off-site drainage coming down through, we needed to accommodate with a culvert.
I think the request is to do just what you're saying, which is
Yeah.
to go revisit it and to update the map as, if and as appropriate.
Exactly. We'll take that and do some homework there. Connection to Reynolds Lane. We talked about this a little bit. Part of the logic to place the open space right there was to essentially preclude any connection in the future from Bath Lane to Reynolds Lane without pretty much the parties of Reynolds Lane, the parties of Driftwood Drive, sorry, I said Bath Lane, and because this is within the town's required open space, ultimately, it would require, I would presume it would require some level of town approval to cut through that open space where your ordinance and the open space provisions in your ordinance wouldn't necessarily allow for that. So the fire chief, in my original conversations with him, didn't foresee any need for his department to use Reynolds Lane to access the properties here. So by having the open space in this area, it almost makes it keeps it from having one owner within the property, say Lot 4, being able to grant access through to Reynolds Lane onto Driftwood Drive without other people granting that approval. So would make it much more of a collaborative approach.
Okay.
Agency consultation, as Heather noted, we did provide our, in the preliminary subdivision application, the beginning with habitat map downloaded from the IF&W database and website. That did not show any significant wildlife habitats in the area. We typically, that would be reviewed if you hit some sort of wetland impact threshold through the DEP, which the wetland impacts proposed for this project are in the order of 778 square feet, so well below any any threshold that the DEP has for wetlands permitting. So I would, ultimately on that defer to what it sounds like the better data that Galen has. As well, the focus area, from what I could tell from looking at I think it was the town's GIS system, pretty much encompassed the entire town, if I interpreted correctly, what the layer that you had on?
Not the whole town.
Not the whole town? Okay, so,
This property is kind of towards the outer edge, but it's well within.
okay. So, but again, with that, I'll touch on, we had an abutter come up, and I don't know if she is here tonight. At the last meeting, an abutter, Kagan, came up and was referencing a vernal pool in the rear of her property. What it looks like, the state has a GIS website that shows any vernal pools, whether they are significant or not. There is a non-significant vernal pool somewhere in the back here, likely in this wetland complex. And there's another little road that comes off over here, farther away from the project. To Heather's observation, there are a couple of non-significant vernal pools in the area that are shown on the state's GIS mapping. But again, non-significant, not regulated by the state. As would, significant vernal pool would be with a 250-foot limited disturbance buffer. We're of course not proposing any wetland impacts in them, so they're not regulated by the Corps of Engineers either.
So is
From our perspective.
Is the outstanding question then still on whether or not this is a protected species, that because of people being more careful about what's shown on the readily available maps, it really, it really is there, but because we haven't reached out to IFW, we're not seeing it? Galen, you made some mention of you already have an inquiry in.
Yeah, I have contacts with the department, and, they've helped us with other subdivision applications when we did notice there was something on the map. So this is news to me. I didn't know that they started shielding, so we'll reach out to the department and get confirmation, and we'll answer that question.
Awesome. On this specific?
Yep.
Yeah, thanks for that.
If we are still in public hearing, there is a hand raised on Zoom.
I'm just going to let Mr. Lowry finish. I think you were.
A couple of more quick points on Lot 4.
Yes.
In the letter that I provided to you, there are a couple of, images, so to speak. One is, we did some research after getting the comment from the Burke's attorney, did a little research into the potential for an off-site stream up in this area. There is one that was shown on the Kennebunkport Heritage Housing plans. That has been, we were able to access a copy of that through the Registry of Deeds, show where that stream was identified, field located by Longview. And we're able to, correlate some different features, lot pins, show that stream, and show what we have as a stream, 75-foot stream setback on that image, or that exhibit, page 3, in that letter.
Yep.
And the last comment,
How did that affect the building parcel that you had? Did change it, move it, decrease it?
it cut out this little corner here. Yep. But a fairly negligible amount where you're getting up into that corner. To touch on the comment about floodplain, we do have floodplains identified on the subdivision plan. These are based on the most current from 2024 floodplain maps that were made effective, I think, in July of '24. So you've got a floodplain area right down here. You've got a small floodplain area that encroaches into Lot 3 in the flood zone A there. The flood zone that I believe may have previously encroached into Lot 4 looks to have been revised to just miss the corner of Lot 4. That's the colored image that we have on the plan. So that's where that flood zone, maybe, you know, for clarity, we could show a little bit more around the, you know, just the outside, you know, few feet on the outside of the subdivision plan, just, you know, for clarity purposes. Happy to add that to the plan.
Please do.
Thank you. David, I know you said there's a hand raised, but I think we're going to finish off with the folks that are in the room first.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, just before we go on, Heather, you had a rebuttal, or a, excuse me.
Yes.
Before you begin, can Ms. Ward just have one last take?
Thank you. Regarding that access along Reynolds Lane, it's owned in fee by Deanne Marie. Does she need to provide permission to make use of that land? How does that work? For a connection? Or access through?
No, they're not going to,
Not at all?
never.
Okay, all right.
No,
Well,
set it up so that if it were to happen, it would require, you know, multiple parties to agree to it,
Okay,
including whoever owns or accesses from Reynolds Lane.
okay. Okay, thank you, that's all.
And on the turtle habitat, Galen's he took an action to make a call and see what
Okay,
can be found out.
that's great. And on your town's web page, the GIS, there's a data layer showing rare, threatened, and endangered species habitat. It might be easy to miss because it's like a huge hatching of the entire area rather than small polygons of individual occurrences. So just wanted to note that. Okay,
Okay, he's aware of that.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and members of the board. My name is Michael Skolnick. I'm an attorney with Archipelago, firm in Portland, land use and permitting attorney with them. I didn't have an opportunity to review the letter from BH2M, and I understand that they did address some of our concerns. These concerns are brought forward on behalf of Adriana Burke, who's an abutter to the property. Her land is just north and shares about 700 feet of shared common boundary line. We're here tonight to point out some of the numerous shortcomings and the illegalities of the plan, the way it is drafted at this point. Understanding that there will be some changes to the plan that come out of our comments and the board's comments as well. The letter I submitted does go into more depth about the design standards, the application standards, and some of the performance standards, but I do want to highlight a couple of the major shortcomings of this plan, the way it's submitted. First off, and I know what was submitted by BH2M tries to address this, but Lot 1, as it's designed, it cannot be included as part of the subdivision because it has absolutely no connection and is not contiguous with the rest of the subdivision. BH2M in their letter, in the first sentence of section 1, it says, it is their opinion that Lot 1 should be included in the subdivision. They're not attorneys, I understand, but the state statutes and the town ordinance specifically do not allow it. The subdivision ordinance itself, it incorporates the statutory definitions of subdivision pursuant to Title 30A. Title 30A, Section 4401 defines subdivision as the division of a tract or parcel of land into 3 or more lots within a 5-year period. It also further defines tract or parcel of land. It includes only contiguous land in the same ownership. It's clear that the section of Lot 1 as proposed in the subdivision plan, is not contiguous with lots 2 through 4. They're separated by an entirely different parcel owned by a different person. The subdivision ordinance also defines contiguous land. It defines it as lots that adjoin any lot line or point, or are separated by a water body less than 15 feet. Also, these two pieces are not contiguous. You can't consider lot 1 as contiguous or part of this subdivision. The subdivision statute itself and the town regulations are clear that a subdivision has to originate from a single parcel of all contiguous property. The history of this property is actually extremely interesting also. The applicant's predecessor in title divided this piece. They sold out a portion in the middle of what is now the area as lot 1 and the remaining piece of lots 2 through 4. They sold it out and they created 3 lots. With that subdivision that wasn't approved by this board, that's exactly what they did.
Do you have a year on that?
I do not, but I'm sure BH2M does know the year that that was sold out. I could certainly get that for you.
It was more than 5 years.
More than 5 years ago?
Yes.
It wouldn't matter, because what they did.
I did want to ask a question.
Yeah, no problem.
When was that originally divided off?
What I do know.
Yeah, sorry.
At one point, that was a contiguous property.
Yeah, this
middle portion. was-
Schlubach piece
Yes.
was divided off,
He says less
it will
than
be
5 years.
5 years in January.
5 years
So
in
that would be
January.
January of '21.
So they were contiguous within 5 years. And it was sold off, did it go through a subdivision process, or is just the regular dividing up a property every 5 years?
I'm not aware of any subdivision process that it went through.
Okay, thanks.
No, our understanding is that it didn't go through subdivision review, but that sale did create 3 lots, 3 separate lots. So where are we now? These parcels aren't adjoining. Reviewing this property together as these 2 pieces is pretty much like them, in a drastic overstatement, asking you to review a property that they own across town and consider it as part of this subdivision. There's no difference here. Absolutely none. And that's why the state statutes and your town ordinance don't allow subdivisions like this to occur. The question is, why wouldn't they just keep that as a separate lot, right? It's no different. It's already separate right now. My understanding is that they use this lot 1 to take advantage of lesser density in the area, as well as use it as open space for the entire subdivision. That's not allowed. Lot 1 is entirely located within the Cape Porpoise West District. Lots 3, the remaining subdivision area with the road, in lots 2 through 4, it's within both the Cape Porpoise West District as well as the Free Enterprise District. For density purposes, the Free Enterprise District requires a minimum lot size of 40,000 square feet. Cape Porpoise West District is 20,000 square feet. So including lot 1 allows for a significantly more density, which the applicant is attempting to utilize to remain within the remaining non-contiguous portion of the subdivision. They're gaining a lot by including lot 1 in the calculation. Removing the just over 40,000 acres from lot 1, there's only just over 20,000 square feet of remaining land in the Cape Porpoise West District. It supports 1 residential dwelling unit. You add that with the available land from the Free Enterprise District, and you only yield 2 residential dwelling units for this whole subdivision. We have 4 here. That does not meet the town's ordinance. They also do the same thing for open space. The subdivision ordinance itself requires no less than 15% of the subdivision area to to be utilized as open space. The application has more than half of that 15% within the split off area of near lot 1, just adjacent to. Only approximately, by my calculations, 6% of that area is within the larger subdivision area, where lots 2 through 4 and the road are. There needs to be substantially more open space in the main area of the subdivision. If anything, open space is provided for these lots to utilize, to have the benefit of the open space in the subdivision. No lot 2 through 4 can take any advantage of the nearly 15,000 square feet of open space near lot 1 at the corner of 2 conjoining roads. I also want to mention that lot 3, the way it stands right now, doesn't meet the minimum lot standard of the free enterprise district. Lot 3 is interesting. It's a bit different than all the other ones. It's in 2 zones. About half of it's in the free enterprise district and half of it's in the Cape Porpoise West district. Even if it has just over 27,000 square feet, the way it's designed, that's my understanding. Even if we take the 20,000 minimum lot area of the Cape Porpoise West district and combined it and kind of meet in the middle with the free enterprise district, let's say that's 30,000 square feet, it still doesn't meet that requirement, even though half is in both zones. But that's not what we do. That's not how your ordinance reads. Your ordinance reads that it actually specifies when different regulatory provisions conflict, the more restrictive provision shall control. It's clear that the more restrictive provision here, it's actually, it seems somewhat opposite, but the more restrictive provision is the bigger lot size. It's the 40,000 square feet in the free enterprise district. We clearly don't meet that standard for lot 3. BH2M did address the shortcoming in the plan of the 75-foot setback and the stream that's just off the site. Lot 4, there's a stream. I believe they said it was identified by, is it Jim Logan of Longview Partners?
Can't remember if it was Jim or one of his colleagues, but I'm pretty certain it was Longview.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know Jim well. I've worked with him in the past. He's great at what he does. However, I have no idea when that was delineated. He said they found an old plan. These things change rather significantly over time. We need an updated plan. Find out exactly where that is. The zoning map of the town shows the 75-foot buffer encroaching well into the property, into lot 4 itself. That significantly affects where both vegetation can be cut as well as the building envelope. And honestly, we don't know how it affects net residential density either. But the point is, without a new delineation of that stream, we have no idea what the building envelope could be. No idea if lot 4 is even feasible lot. So we would ask that that be updated. I do want to correct one thing that I misstated in my letter. I do understand that Bath Lane is a 50-foot wide right-of-way. I think the point is that Bath Lane is utilized by this subdivision right now, especially if lot 1's going to be connected into there. That should be upgraded. I don't know if it meets all of the town specs as it is right now. Certainly for right-of-way width, but there's much more than that. There's pavement widths, there's sub-grade bases, and everything in between. We don't know if that meets the town specifications right now, but that needs to be upgraded if this subdivision, new subdivision, 3 new lots, possibly even 4 the way they propose it. Are you gonna utilize this road? That's substantially more traffic here, and honestly, if it's part of the subdivision, it has to meet the subdivision standards. I also don't know, it wasn't clear by the plans, first off, I don't know what the road is called. It seemed like it was Seabound Way, might have been Salty something Way for a while. And now it's Driftwood. I might be incorrect about how the plans have changed over time, and I apologize for that. But it seems to be a 33-foot right-of-way, and I could be mistaken, but I believe private right-of-ways have to be 50 feet wide in the subdivision ordinance. I don't know if that could be addressed. It certainly would take up some additional land in this area. A few ordinance standards that the plan also fails to meet. Just going through them, they did say that they were getting a they were attempting to get a waiver for the high intensity soil survey. Only a medium intensity was submitted, as well as the hydrogeological assessment. Those are required by your ordinance when they're not served by public sewer and lots have a density of less than 100,000 square feet. That falls squarely within when they need to get a hydrogeological assessment. There's no special circumstances here that they should waive this. They haven't identified any, at least, besides that it seems like they don't want to do it. Additionally, it's great to hear that there's going to be a fire hydrant installed. There is safety concerns when you add 4 houses to a development, and I appreciate that. Lastly, the dead-end turnaround, according to the subdivision ordinance, to me, the way it reads is it has to be a cul-de-sac, not a hammerhead turnaround. I don't see anywhere in the subdivision ordinance that allows a hammerhead turnaround and not a cul-de-sac. This is a wooded area right now. When there's a wooded area, there has to be trees in the middle of that cul-de-sac. That's not provided. They're going to clear cut the entire road, not provide for any trees in the middle of a cul-de-sac. We don't see where that's allowed under the ordinance. Additionally, there was some conversation about this before, but there should be a 20-foot easement for pedestrian and utility connections at the end of a dead-end street. That's per the ordinance as well. That's not provided here. I understand that both lots want to have some sort of privacy where there's a dead-end road just on the other side of lot 4 as well. But that's a requirement under the ordinance. It's there just in case these things change in the future, but we can provide for that connection, and the town can provide for that connection if it's needed. Yes, it might take away from some of the lot sizes that they have, or they're proposing right now, but that doesn't mean that they can skirt around the standard. As currently designed, I guess I would say right now, actually, there's almost no buffer. Just to add on to what one of the other butters said, there's almost no buffer between the road or any of the property lines. You look at the tree lines around this property, they are directly up to the boundary line. That is a real concern for abutters. You have somewhat of a generally wooded area right now that is going to be almost clear cut, understanding that there are trees here, but 4 houses going in right next to them. We urge the board, if they do consider approving this plan, to require some sort of vegetated buffer along the property lines. As currently designed right now, the application not only doesn't meet the ordinance, but it's also an illegal pursuant to state subdivision law. A subdivision can't take advantage of non-contiguous land. It can't do it. It specifically cannot do so. To gain density and skirt around some applicable dimensional standards, and that's what they're doing by including lot 1, or take advantage of open space that might as well be across town on another property that this applicant owns. It doesn't matter that it's only 2 lots away. It has no benefit whatsoever to the subdivision itself. For all of those reasons, the application as it sits right now, it should just be flat out denied. However, I understand that BH2M and the applicant are going to work on this application and provide different plans and address some of these concerns. So I'd urge the board just to keep the public meeting open right now, so we have an opportunity to first review the package that was submitted by BH2M tonight, because clearly none of us have had an opportunity to really digest some of the material in there, as well as really the new plans come in. I'm sure there'll be comments and some concerns from the abutter. We hope to have an opportunity to address them. Thank you very much. I'm sorry to be super long-winded, but I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Lowry, do you want to?
Certainly. So let's start with the question about the contiguous, and spoke with Galen earlier today. The sole reason that we showed the entire property within the subdivision is because the tax map shows it as one entire property, and the deed has it all included, both of the pieces are in a single property. If you recall, those of you who were on the board when we came in for a sketch plan, the layout of the subdivision is fairly comparable to what we proposed then, even, at that sketch plan meeting is when you all, reminded me of the 15% open space requirement. So any presumption that there was a nefarious intent to include Lot 1, what we have as Lot 1 within the subdivision is wholly inaccurate. I mean, if, I know Galen has spoken to the attorney, the town attorney, and if a full review of the statutes and a legal opinion, which, as noted, we're engineers, not attorneys. And, if they come back and say that it should be excluded from the subdivision, and we have that documentation, and that backup to, provide to the landowner and having our records going forward, then that's what we'll deal with. The second part of Mr. Skolnick's comment on the net density, I do want to make sure everybody is very clear on how we showed the net density calculations on this part of the table and came up with in excess of 3 lots. That area that we have, the total area that we have within the free enterprise zone and the Cape Porpoise West zone is solely in this part of the project. This area down here with Lot 1 meets the net area, all the dimensional requirements in the Cape Porpoise West zone by many square feet. I mean, to the point that there's there's roughly a 40,000 square foot lot down here. We were able to get 20,450 square feet of net lot area while also providing over 17,000 feet of open space to the subdivision. Certainly, in the context of needing to do 15% open space, we took advantage of that and provided the open space down here. We also thought there was significant value in providing the open space down in this area because you've got, and keeping this area is pretty well undeveloped, undisturbed, because you've got a floodplain that encompasses quite a bit of that open space. All of that withstanding, the way we have shown the open space and the 15% requirement, how much of it has to be upland versus wetland, we feel we met. To get back to this piece in here, we only showed this piece within the net density calculations to make it very clear that we weren't utilizing the area in Lot 1 within our density. And that's very clearly called out in the note right here, lots 2, 3, and 4 area. So that, and if you do the math, add the total area within the free enterprise, total area within the Cape Porpoise, it sums to the 124,016 square feet that we show up here for, what was described as parcel 1, lots 2, 3, and 4. So that's this area up in this piece. So from a density standpoint, pretty confident that if Lot 1 is excluded, 3 lots still under the new ordinance can be provided in this part of the property. That's a lot to digest. So any questions?
Question on that. in looking at the plan, lot 2 is nearly entirely in the free enterprise zone, except for one little corner.
Correct.
Lot 4 is almost entirely in Cape Porpoise West, with one corner that's free enterprise. Lot 3's got a line right down the middle of it. It's half here and half there. The calculations you were showing are combining all 3 lots together.
Yes. No, the calculations are per zone.
Per zone.
Yes, they're broken out to show we've got 1.4 acres available in the
Zone, but not-
area over here.
But not per lot.
Correct. So if you take the area, follow my finger, come up the property line, up the zone line, back down through and around,
Understood.
that is 59,000 and some square feet. Take all the deductions out, divide it by 40,000, you come up with 1.4
Right,
lots. Go to and do the same exercise for the Cape Porpoise West, come up around, take that area.
But with
Six-
that one, you're also including lot 1,
No,
Cape Porpoise West?
Cape, a very small portion of Lot 1.
Okay.
But
No.
lot 1 is a separate calculation on that chart, it's higher up the zone.
Lot 2,
I'm
excuse me.
talking- Let's talk about lot 3.
Question was lot 1.
If someone came to us with lot 3.
Yep.
As is, and wanted a building envelope.
Yep.
Lot 3 is that one right in the middle.
Yep,
And wanted a building envelope for that, we would say, well, you see, you got 1 foot over here, and you're allowed to have so much space for that foot. And you're straddling that line, you've got less room for the other foot. So if I went lot by lot, I'd have a different calculation than zone by zone. Does that make any sense?
you jumped ahead in my response, and I was hoping to be able to take comments specifically
be quiet-
on the
quiet, wait till we
net
jump ahead.
density real quick. I mean, I can,
I don't have any question on that net density
Okay.
calculation, the way it's displayed.
so what was failed to be explained to the board is that there's also another provision in the land use ordinance, chapter 240-6.1D, that specifically addresses lots that are split by a zone boundary. And to paraphrase a little bit, provisions of this chapter that apply to the larger portion of the lot may be applied to the smaller portion that is within 30 feet of the zone boundary. So in looking at this piece, actually, I think I did the calculation based on the entire parcel, but if you deduct out this area, the majority of this piece right up over here still holds that the majority of this parcel is within the Cape Porpoise West zone. Now, there may be a nuance in the law. We, if the board were to get really particular with this and hold the 30-foot standard within Lot 3, that would come right down in this area. Maybe we would need, for cleanliness, could adjust the lot line of Lot 2 to all be within the free enterprise zone and vice versa, or within that 30-foot zone that's described.
We
So-
have a reputation of being particular.
We can address that, there's ample frontage, whatever, if that seems to make sense. But from the perspective of solely Lot 3, 66% of Lot 3 is in the Cape Porpoise zone. So, I mean, by far more than half of Lot 3 is in the Cape Porpoise West zone. If you, like I was just sort of showing that little bit of a line, would, once you offset 30 feet, I mean, almost all of Lot 3 is within the area that could be regulated by the standards of the Cape Porpoise zone. Cape Porpoise West zone.
No, I'm
Okay.
I'm still cogitating and listening.
No, I think he's done answering.
Yeah, I mean, any questions? I mean, they were the, sort of the
Got that?
two bigger pieces, just to address open space while we're right here. If it is determined that lot one, let me, before we get into that, any questions on the net density? What we're showing on the plan is roughly 4.5 acres of available density, or lots, based on, that are available, based on just the area right over here. That was updated to reflect the new town zoning that eliminated the standard 15%. Before, we showed, somewhere in the 3 point something available right up here when that was in place.
The minus 15% is marked as roads, not as open space.
Correct. That was the former,
That was the former
definition.
Okay.
So the intent, 100%, was to show that this portion right up here could support 3 lots solely in this area.
But why did, I mean, I don't even know if this is relevant. Well, I guess it is. It's on my, I sit here and I'm like, just to me, lot 3 just is like bizarre. Like, it's like one of these things just doesn't belong, right? Why lot 3? Why do you need lot 3?
Well, I mean, lot 3 has a valuable building window. We can, it's
A lot going on. and
large
it's
enough to
splitting
support,
small.
to support
It's
a lot.
almost like you just felt like, yeah, we gotta shoehorn another lot in here somewhere.
Well, I mean, that other lot has value and has opportunity for, somebody looking to reside in Kennebunkport to be able to do so. Now, granted, you've got the wetland that bisects, the house in itself, by the nature of the hammerhead, will be limited down into this portion of the lot, but then you've got some, presumably with the wetland, you'll have some undisturbed area right up in here that will act as a de facto buffer to concerned property owners.
Okay. We're interested in building envelopes, so I look at that and I'm like, that's not as attractive as the other 2 lots, and
It may not be,
But
it's
that's
still
27,000
yeah,
acres, less the wetlands and all.
Yeah.
It's challenging, but it's
But
not the inner city either.
Yeah,
Right.
but that's up to the builder to show how he can put the building envelope in there and meet the requirements. It may be a bit smaller building envelope than some of the other
Oh,
ones, but
absolutely.
that's their requirements that they'll have to.
And especially with the consideration to extend public water up in here, you don't have
That's a big deal.
the restriction of a distance between, the wells and the septics, things along those lines.
Okay.
You mentioned something about town attorney and opinion on this non-contiguous land. Is that something we've been offered an opinion on?
Yeah, so I just talked to Amy Chow today, just to, because I knew we had this upcoming, and I wanted you to at least get some kind of feedback and guidance from the town solicitor in reviewing this application. So she did not look at anything that is a response from the applicant. She just looked at the letter from Archipelago. And her opinion does align with myself in that Lot 1 is not contiguous with the rest of the parcel, so it should not be considered for the subdivision purposes.
Cannot be.
Yeah. We did respectfully disagree with number 3, that item that is referred to in the letter from Archipelago. And we agree with the applicant in their interpretation that section 240, 6.1D does give clear guidance to the planning board on when we have a parcel or proposed parcel that is split between two. And I believe that the applicant has satisfied that requirement for our land use purposes. The practicality of actually getting something on the lot, that's gonna be a totally different discussion. And, you know, that's gonna really constrain what their development is.
Well,
It might be a smaller footprint, building envelope for that lot in particular, depending on that wetland.
Well, if we're considering them to not be contiguous
Correct, for lot 1,
for lot 1, then we lose that big piece of open space down there.
correct.
Right, so there's gonna have to be some,
But there's other provisions in
Review
your
and reflect.
subdivision regs that allow for in lieu of doing open space. So that's up to the developer to explore those options now that he has received feedback.
Yeah.
it's not sizable enough for cluster zoning.
No, because it needs to be 5 acres.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and, you know, I have not researched, you know, or really dove into the nuances of what we would do with the open space going forward. But as Galen mentioned, there's an in lieu fee. You know, the amount proposed here would certainly go down by whatever 15% of 40,000 is. We, you know, would either look to explore, you know, where we could get that in, or if we don't, then, you know, we go the in lieu fee route. We take the open space off the plan there, open up lot 4 potentially, and, you know, contribute to a fund, but have an extra 7,300 square feet available for less whatever potential wetland rate might be there.
That's not gonna be determined tonight, so.
No, that won't, 100% won't.
But it's something that you have to review, research, and come back with a
Correct.
thing on.
And, you know, it's something that is not, you know, I've done enough math on it right now to understand that it's not going to, I don't expect it to materially change what we do with lots 2, 3, and 4.
Right, we'll see.
Exactly.
May I ask if there's any other,
Certainly.
public, we still have the public hearing open. I know there's hands. Are there any hands in the audience still? Do you have another point to add?
Just one follow-up.
Yeah.
Just that we didn't hear any, I don't know, I believe that it has to be a cul-de-sac, and I don't know if that was addressed. Just to leave the public hearing open if possible, so
Yeah,
when there's
we
new
got that.
plans coming, we can address that as well.
We got that. And,
Thank you.
and we have, in a number of other cases, allowed for the hammerhead with the fire chief's blessing, and also there's precedent for that. Won't be a showstopper. I wanted to ask if there's anyone in the audience, for the public hearing is still open. Do you have something?
Well, I thought there was a question on the 75-foot setback from the stream. That was from the Housing Trust project that was done earlier this year? Yeah. So it's fairly current, the
No,
information?
that was the Housing Trust project from 2022, I
Oh,
believe.
okay.
So it's been a
It's
few
not-
years, yes.
Okay, it's not the one that we just did.
Correct. No, it's not the
That
same
was
one.
what I wanted to clarify.
The one that's already completed and got people living in it?
I mean, to, you know, certainly streams have some movement through time. You know, that was done within the past few years. My presumption without trespassing onto other people's property to identify exactly where that stream is, it's likely, you know, within a few feet of where we show it now and where we'll show the associated 75-foot stream setback coming, you know, off of that up and into lot 4.
All right, thanks. I had that as the wrong heritage trust. Thank you for clarification.
And since I have the microphone still, I had sat down to allow other people to comment, but Mr. Slotnick brought it up. I'll point you to responses. I think it's part of response number 6 in the under the design guidelines category. References the ordinance provision for the hammerhead turnaround that allows the hammerhead turnaround. It's a table in the ordinance that is based on the number of lots that will be served off of the private way. And again, the note above that, conflating the two provisions. One is a table for the lot width. The other, as part of that same section, has the hammerhead as an option with the required dimensions, which were part of the comments that we received from Public Works or Fire Chief and addressed in our most recent resubmission of materials and plans before the planning board meeting earlier in December.
Understood. Did you have any response to Ms. Ward's question earlier about the possibility of putting in a vegetative buffer of some sort along the road? And the answer being no is okay too, but I just didn't want to miss the opportunity.
Along this stretch,
they're worried about
will be tight. You know, there is a you know, the grading and the ditch are tight up against that property. You know, to that point too, I'm on a planning board, review plans, have to make judgments of whether to plant trees to buffer trees. And that's what the situation would be right here where this lot is, you know, it's undeveloped.
Yes.
It's all wooded right up along through here. You know, that was part of the logic with the open space, was to provide that undeveloped buffer right in this area, because you know, we knew that there were some residents right up at the end of Reynolds Lane. You know, and then by the time you come around, you start to get more separation. You know, based on the abutters' comments, the attorney's comments, it sounds like we will be relooking at that. So, you know, in that context, you know, if this wetland does extend up into here, I think, you know, we would not be showing clearing out anywhere, you know, down in this area
the
at least.
concern is
Yep.
lights and sight lines, you know, for traffic coming up that road that isn't there now. And if that's all treed on the right-hand side of that, then that's not a concern until somebody decides to clear that. But at this point in time, I don't know whether it is or not.
You know, as you come
I don't want you,
up,
you can't plant trees on someone else's property.
Right.
Right.
right. You know, as you come up and around, and that's where we thought as if a vehicle was leaving out of here, and it still will, if, you know, presuming, you know, and I have no doubt that Heather knows this part of the property very well. You know, under the presumption that wetland does extend up some to the culvert there, you know, this area down here would still remain, you know, relatively, at least relatively undeveloped. We could, you know, work with the board and staff to refine what we show as a approximate limit of clearing. Right now, you know, this is the plan and profile sheet. You know, we show a building window that leaves a fair amount of Lot 4, or a portion of Lot 4 and the open space out,
Understood. I think the question that was brought up was in the context of the lower portion, though, of
I
that
got you.
of that road. Yeah.
Okay.
And what you can do there.
Thank you for that.
All right.
Can we determine, are there any hands that are raised in the Zoom audience?
Yes,
More than one?
just one.
Would you allow them in, please?
So Zoom person identified as iPhone, please tell us your name and you may speak.
Hi there. Name is Deanne Marie. I am the owner of Reynolds Lane, and I'm encouraged by what I heard previously that the fire chief has stated, if I understand correctly, that there would be no need to use Reynolds Lane as additional access to their property. So if I understand that correctly, I'm much relieved. I have the distinction, according to the tax assessor, of having the worst property in the town.
That's a good person to have that issue with.
Ask Becky. She said I have the worst property in town.
The lowest rate.
She said that, well, there are two that are underwater. So I said, but those two, I mean, they could have like the James Bond aquarium homes. So aside from those, I have the worst one because my property is essentially the easement. My property is only 70 feet wide and the easement's 40. So with setbacks and everything, currently I have 5 feet of 5 feet by 200 feet of buildable space on my property. Anyhow, all that aside, just to say, I am much relieved by the comments that
With good reason.
y'all don't
Yeah.
y'all don't need to use my street because basically I live in it.
Yes. You're a street person. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saved.
All right.
Okay, then the other comment was what you were just discussing about the wetlands and having a buffer back there to be a buffer against like car lights coming into houses and whatnot. Being the wetlands, yeah, it's got vegetation back there, but the trees back there, the leaves are way up high.
Yeah.
So it's not like the trees are going to block any of the car lights. You got the vegetation on the ground, the wetlands, and you got the trees that have the leaves way up high. So back to Heather's point, there needs to be a buffer, so that the people, Heather and Jeff and Leslie don't have the same situation I do of living on a street, because it would basically be street car lights in their eyes all the time. So I just wanted to point that out, that yeah, there are trees, but it's not like it's going to block any of the car lights.
All right. Good clarification.
Deanne?
Deanne Marie, yes.
Yep. I remember looking at the property this summer and seeing sort of this is where the road would go.
Yeah.
If a vegetative buffer along the entire length of Driftwood Lane were not reasonable, could appropriately placed vegetation and/or fencing, not along the entire length, but right at that spot where the light's gonna shine into somebody's living room every time they turn around. Would that be a possibility in your opinion?
I believe so. I mean, we just need consideration.
I'm not a,
You know,
10-foot
nobody,
fence all the way
nobody
along
wants
the
to
road,
feel
but,
like
just that
they're
one
living on a
6-foot spot.
highway.
Okay.
So yeah, I think any consideration along that line would be appreciated.
Okay, thanks.
Because, you know, that's part of the beauty of living where we do live, is we live in a forest.
Yeah,
We want to continue to live in a forest and not a highway.
understood. Thank you.
So I appreciate being able to comment.
Well, thanks for the help.
Sure, thank you.
Any other people waiting to speak?
No other hands raised.
Then I'd like to propose that we continue this public hearing and allow some reflection and possibly revision on the part of the applicant to accommodate the information that says this configuration is not going to be acceptable.
Sorry, I thought there was more public there.
No?
Yeah, certainly, I mean, from the buffering standpoint, you know, we can look at that a little more. You know, what we had proposed, we thought was a fairly good stand of what would remain as wooded vegetation right up in through there. We can, you know.
Ms. Marie makes a point, though, that says, yeah, what about the fact that all the leaves are up there?
I mean,
Yeah.
and certainly, but you've got, you know, it's effectively though, it's, you're looking at one, maybe two homes that would have the potential, and, you know, I live on a
Right.
private way.
Right.
I understand when you know, we were there and a couple of new houses came in and, you know, it was a change. Let's just put it that way. You know, many years later, you know, I certainly have become accustomed
Learned to live with it,
a car going by my house.
But there
every
is,
so often.
I thought George raised a good point that, that's two tonight. That perhaps with some selective fencing and maybe closer to the homes that you're trying to protect, might be a solution that would be helpful.
We'll put our
Obviously,
heads
it's
together
easy for
and-
me to say
and-
sitting
yeah.
here, but
We'll put our heads together
please
and
think
try
about
and,
it, yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
They make good neighbors, good fences.
yeah, all right.
Okay, so we'll coordinate with,
So you're okay with putting this public hearing on hiatus, on continuing it until you have a chance to
yeah, well,
update the plan?
we
Yeah, a
knew,
lot of
you know,
issues
going
to
into
address.
tonight, we still had the stormwater comments to wrap
Yeah.
up, and my attention, this week was diverted from that to deal with other preparation of letters, so we'll,
Right, you just got
Yeah.
this, we just got this.
Yeah.
But-
We're all
so-
contacted.
so,
Before tonight, and the legal understanding that we've come to, that I know we should have had before, but we didn't, that the configuration doesn't allow us to approve the preliminary plan as it's submitted because of the configuration.
understood, once,
issue.
you know,
So-
once I,
So
we-
rather
you know, I
than
talked with Galen, I figured,
rejecting it,
yeah.
no, I think let's continue it, let's fix it in the preliminary stage, understanding that the stormwater is still in process. and
100%.
Maybe some other things. All right,
Certainly.
then I would propose that. Do we have a second?
Second.
Yeah, show of hands, 5, yes. Thank you very much for your patience and clarity and the input from Michael in particular. And Heather, she's still here? No, there you are. Sorry, thank you very much. And Ms. Marie.
We have openings on the planning board.
We're going to put that on a loop.
I'm living proof that you don't have to know anything.
I know it's gotten late here, but we do have one other business item that I wanted to get to, which was from Galen.
Yes.
Galen has a request that we maybe can make things a little bit easier in some cases that right now require him to go to the planning board.
Has everybody read that suggestion?
Yes.
I have.
That's the one you sent today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and did you understand the property that has triggered this request?
No.
No,
they
but
did not.
I understood
You
the
gonna raise that?
spirit.
No, no,
They're treating
I
it as-
totally understood the spirit of the note.
okay.
Yeah, and I thought it was good.
I'm all for it, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it.
Are you able to make a motion then, just designate that authority?
Yeah, I'd like to, could you read that, or,
So the suggested motion is that we move to designate the code enforcement officer with the ability to administratively permit construction and replacement of non-conforming structures on existing foundation footprint within the town of Kennebunkport, subject to a 7-day notification of abutters within 200 feet of the property before permit issuance.
And this is on a foundation, this would not include a dock.
Correct.
and
which is
and
the
I
existing.
guess the only question I'd raise is why do you want to make it subject to a notification of abutters? Would you normally do that for any repair or restoration?
So normally, this would have went to the planning board where you would have had a public hearing process. And so the only other time that I have asked for
No,
we've asked for designation authority from the planning board was in the case of when we had structures within a floodplain, and they were just looking to elevate the existing structure.
Yes.
And the former chair at the time suggested we continue that tradition of notifying the abutters. That's,
No, and I remember that, and I supported it. I just thought in this case, we have a situation that says, I lost my house due to fire. I want to rebuild it, and all of a sudden I've got to notify my abutters that I'm gonna,
so
questioning
you
whether
know, we
that's
have
needed
to,
or not.
we have to look broadly. We cannot look at a case-by-case example.
Uh-huh.
So do you think it's a good policy to not notify the abutters?
That I'm going to rebuild on the existing foundation.
Right. Yep.
I guess
If
I'm
that's
asking,
fine.
I'm asking that question.
It seems-
Of the board. Somebody smarter than me, say something.
So can I just add?
Come on, that doesn't take much.
Can I just add, is the question,
I just want to
if you were
simplify
gonna
it.
rebuild your home right now,
Yeah.
would you be required to go to your neighbors and, butters within how many feet?
200 feet.
200 feet to get all their comments on the rebuilding of your existing home? That's the question.
And normally, for planning board, for site plan applications, we would be notifying the abutters.
What if it was a new construction that was conforming, that met all the setbacks? It just,
Yeah, no, there'd be no notification.
I'd like to treat this the same, that's all.
But this is, the only reason we come before the board is because it was.
It's not
It was not.
And it was more than 50%
More than.
damaged.
Yeah.
So it would come before us,
Yes.
so.
If it was less than 50% damage, it wouldn't be
That's the code
notified, you wouldn't be
enforcement
notifying.
And you got insurance money, you got a contractor, you wanna rebuild, and we're gonna hold you up by a couple of months potentially.
7 days.
Well, no,
Well,
they're not meeting because
No,
it's
now
the
you're gonna
4th
get
of
their
July,
comments are
and
gonna
Right,
come
right, you have to do
back and-
initial review, and then you have to do the public hearing, then finding the facts, yes. Yep. So
You're
we're trying to
also
save
opening a
time.
When in
window.
the end, we're gonna say yes.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
mostly.
Can I just say, what would the public comments entail?
I don't want them working before 6 in the
Well,
morning, or I don't want
And that
them.
would impact you.
Well, yeah, then the code officer would have to develop its own findings of fact before the permit issuance, and then certainly if we issued the permit and the butter disagreed still, they could appeal it to the zoning board of appeals. That's in their purview.
I think it's fine. If we run into issues, we can amend it, right?
Yep, you can always amend your designation.
I mean.
Oh,
they-
that's true.
Yeah.
It's down at Goose Rocks Beach. The house washes away to sea. They're gonna rebuild it, but the neighbors say, I don't want the construction vehicles parked in front of my property. I don't want them accessing this. I don't want, it's summertime. I don't want you, I mean, they're gonna do that regardless.
Well, we
I
won't
don't
add
want that.
conditions, we
I
can't
don't
as
want to
code
add that
enforcement.
condition.
But is the issue rebuilding to the same specification?
Yeah.
Exactly.
On the same
Yeah.
foundation.
If they change it, then that would possibly have
pink
to
is
deal.
Now it's gotta come to us. But
Right, because it would be
Right.
Gotta be, was
This is,
non-conforming.
this is
It was
an
not
existing
conforming before,
non-conforming,
and it's
but I
not
haven't
conforming
changed a
after.
thing.
No increase of footprint, no increase,
Yep.
no change of style, room layout,
Yep.
windows,
Yep.
anything.
To me, I think about it in terms of, this is a neighbor that's lost their house. And they finally got their insurance in line, and now I'm gonna go make them jump through one more hoop. I'd like to make it easier by just having the code office be able to say yes, like they would for any other new construction, and go with that. Not, oh, by the way, you gotta put certified mail out and ask for comments.
I agree with that.
Okay.
That's fine.
So I'd like to amend that motion.
I'll second.
Second.
And the amendment is to remove the requirement for notification, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
You okay with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was what
You had to
were
wait
here
all this time for that?
It was worth the wait.
We have openings on
Oh,
the
did you
planning
really,
board.
did you already have the notices written?
We have them in a butters thing already.
Yeah.
Now you don't need them.
Yeah.
Well, but you know your neighbors, I mean, you know you're doing it.
It was June 6th, and it had one
Who
drawback
after
after
who?
another.
Oh, my
after
God.
another.
Yeah.
So thank you for not making another drawback.
That's
Oh,
fine.
perfect.
God bless you. Good luck.
I didn't even know that that's what you were waiting on. That's good. I'm glad. It was worth it.
It was worth it,
That's
thank you.
at the
Yeah.
Tamaracks, yeah.
Past our bedtime.
Yeah, mine.
Tell me
Mine
about it.
too.
Any other issues for this evening? Any findings that need to be read, or you don't want to make, no, never mind.
I'll make a motion. That we adjourn.
Second.
Wait.
Definitely
no.
for trainings, I can see that we have waiver requests, we need to go over conditions and use tables is what I have so far.
Oh, okay.
So
Any
for
other-
the public, we had a training session before this that wasn't Zoom. It was very helpful, and a bunch of us got together and looked at plans and, you know, maybe some technical details of how to review them. We have some ideas on some other things that would be useful for the board to do, maybe in that same 5 to 6 slot. And we put some of them down. I don't think it needs to be a fixed list, but if you're open to
Yep.
supporting that, we'd love to have that,
Okay.
okay?
If you have any other suggestions, let me know.
Okay.
I'll send them out.
I find it very helpful to do it as a group. I
Yeah.
think it's a good,
Yeah.
it's a good team-building exercise. David,
Oh, I've got enough team building.
no, you didn't hear what I was gonna say. Only that I know you've been soliciting privately and publicly for new membership, and I think it's something that someone who was interested in the board could come to and see that.
Thank you. Thanks for your patience.
Dan, thanks.
Good luck, guys. Happy holidays.
So there's a motion on the floor that's been seconded.
To adjourn? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Mike?